No.
And
Get that
Here we go.
Nurgle shit out of me.
what? You don't want to worship the great grandfather Nurgle?
I don't
That
want
was
Nurgle,
nice.
but Slobbity Ball Piper? That's alright.
Slobbity
Piper.
Piper. Slobbity
No.
Ball Piper.
You cannot say sloppity and then ball piper in the same sentence.
It's Bile Piper.
That
Bile
is,
Piper.
I know what it is. Luke said it right. Okay. It is against the law.
I don't understand.
Alright, I'm gonna links
So
are going up
it's a-
and
It's a nurgling of my design.
Application.
anyways, it's been a minute. Let's maybe do a little bit of a recap of last session because we skipped last week. Mostly because things.
Things
I should
happen.
probably also mention as well that I might start considering doing sessions every other week instead of every week, just to sort of help me keep up with the work, and also because I kind of wouldn't mind just one day where I don't have my brain on, so. And
That's fair.
even,
And I'm okay with that.
even as low effort as it is, as low effort as I may seemingly not put into this campaign, and I do cut corners. You may not know. It's fine. Every DM cuts corners. It's
Every DM does cut corners.
it's the mark of good DMship.
Wait, what the fuck? Your campaigns have corners? I thought I would just do it in circles, man.
Your campaign, yeah, I was gonna say your campaign's a circle. Always
Your
has been.
campaign still has
Always
corners.
has been.
Yeah, your gun has to say railroading on it. That thing that people complain about like constantly.
Oh God. In any case, so yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I might consider doing alternating weekends unless it's just like,
I'm working on getting Godless sorted so that I can actually run something in it. So
Cool.
Alternating weekends until Valheim hype is over. Then we're back to normal.
Yeah, once the Valheim hype dies down, we'll get back to regular scheduled shenanigans. I just really want to play Valheim. No,
I also wouldn't fucking fault you for that because
Yeah.
it's just like
no, I
like,
actually just do need like a couple hours to myself where I'm just like not having to manage anything at all. Like today was even just like that. Won't get too much into out of the game, but like I was just like not myself today. But it's cool because I got to not have to, I'm not me when I'm not me when I'm burned out, but that's okay.
that's how
that's
it
when we
works.
got Slobbity Ball Piper to help him out.
Oh no.
No, we do not. So, recap. Coming back to that. Right then. It's been a couple
A lot
weeks.
of talking actually.
It was a lot more talking than fighting, yeah.
There's lots
Yeah.
of talking.
I don't think we even fought anything. Well,
We did not.
yeah,
We
okay,
might-
yeah.
But then our
What's
DM
his-
over here rolled well for his NPCs, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, we almost fought something, but
Yeah,
Of course,
we almost
he-
did,
he-
but
Turns out his charisma was in check today, so or
yeah.
that day, so he did fine.
Homeboy did not have the advantage, and he rolled double 17s and was like, today we don't get to fight. Today I get to show you my guns.
And they liked those guns, and they liked how they weren't, firing. So then they left.
They like that.
They agreed with the man's decision of not using the guns and not having to spend money to buy more bullets to replace those bullets.
True.
Bullets are expensive these days for every hardworking mercenary. So yeah, you met back with the acting archmage Caiaphas, who, as
Yep.
you learned, can barely lift a finger without getting a shakedown from the knights. As you find out the nice little series of notes that he made and was like information he acquired for you to get your first item, got some attention and got him yelled at pretty thoroughly and maybe shooken up around a little bit. Got bullied a little bit, but that's fine because Caiaphas is just like, whatever, these guys are fucking losers.
These men are pawns.
These men are pawns.
Oh God, can you imagine if we made sorry, off topic, but it's like, man, could you imagine a D&D campaign that was just modeled after the movie Ishtar?
Oh god,
Sweet shit.
I don't want to think about it. Not on stream, maybe off stream. we'll
Think
discuss
about it
off
then.
stream.
see me after session.
See me after game session.
Oh no.
But
yeah.
anyways, yeah. So he kind of explains the situation. You guys are off on a little less support than usual, and don't expect anytime soon. Any extra hands on this.
Can expect to catch these hands though.
However, in exchange for Caiaphas taking an already hands-off approach and going even more hands-off about it, he's able to come in contact and has kind of conscripted the help of a local mercenary leader, Sir Roland, if I remember. I can't remember
Roland.
my
Yeah.
own NPC names.
Rolling.
And Homeboy is he's a pretty cut and dry fellow, and he's willing to help and work with you guys. And of course, as he loves to regularly remind you, we will anyways, is the more money you send his way, the better you can, the better he can help you out.
Help him help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help him
Yep.
help you. is-
Also, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just realized, like, I was looking at the users and I'm like, I've seen Neon Sovereign for a lot of this, like, when we were doing the D&D session, and then I just realized that Shen,
Yeah.
like, wait,
Wow. Kind
wait,
of weird.
I recognize his name now. Where have I seen it before?
I know, right? How convenient.
Strange.
Okay, anyways, continue.
That being said, yeah, so you have Roland and a small little conscription of 12 mercenaries with crossbows at your service. And he's willing to help for a fee. But he's more than happy to help you get from, point A to point B, which may seem like a thing in your foreseeable future. In any case, yeah, Roland is kind of a new contact with you guys. Let's see, what
Kind
else
of.
we got? Yeah, what else we got?
Bad news bears.
Bad News Bears. Yep. Oh, that's right. You guys had to name your mercenary company because you guys couldn't be
The
called
boyfriends.
yeah. So you guys were the boyfriends. No, I'm kidding.
No, remind me.
What an excellent mercenary company.
Even my dog is concerned for my health.
Oh no.
My dog's like, "Hello, you didn't expect me in your room, but here I am. Are you okay?"
The dog's like, you're making such high pitched noises.
Alrighty. So yeah, so there was that. What else did we have?
Gotta
So-
come up with some stories. Oh,
Oh,
gotta come up
You
with some
okay?
stories.
yep. Well, you had 2 weeks,
Yeah,
so I
that's
hope
good.
that you guys came up with some incredible stories to tell this lady. Because to recap now more properly, Saif has mentioned that he got a very accurate bead on this next weapon, Star Silver. And mentions that it is in the possession of Lady Yvonne, the widow of the late noble blacksmith family. And they have the weapon, but she does not know that this weapon is actually an ancient artifact from thousands of years ago. All she knows is it's a shiny sword.
He's shiny.
Shiny.
Yeah, we need to retrieve it somewhere.
In any case, yeah, you've happened across this and information and furnished with this new plan of going in there and getting the sword either by coercion or convincing or perhaps other means that you may decide to employ. You set out, had a run-in with some knights, which Roland thoroughly demonstrates his sense of bravado by pointing his guns towards their leader and letting them off, and he informs you of the Blackguards, which are essentially knights who have deserted their duty and are, they don't wanna be knights no more. They just wanna live like bandits, essentially. They're very dangerous, but they're no better than bandits.
bunch of sacks of waste.
Yeah. The only difference between them and bandits is they're much more well armored and trained.
And brigands.
So, under the guise of the mercenary name Karazakarak, the legend of the dwarf leader who you once fought beside, you travel to the estate, which sits atop the dusty mountain. Well, not at the top, but sits at the base of a dusty mountain. Well, not at the base either.
I'm also a dusty mountain.
Oh. It sits on a dusty mountain, not at the top, but not at the base. About halfway.
Yeah. There's so much dust. If you stay safe, you breathe up here for more than 30 minutes, you'll tear your stomach lining.
Does that mean we
that's
go,
awful.
oh, we're halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Are you really?
No.
I thought so. Anyways,
I thought not.
Anyways, with the aid of Roland and some very decided charisma checks, you were able to convince the house guard that you were here to tell stories and hopefully find some good shelter with the good lady.
Not a bunch of hooligans.
And you're definitely not here to steal an ancient artifact that the lady does not know she has in her possession.
Nope.
So, the lady decides that that she will let you stay for dinner and has agreed that in exchange for home and for a shelter for the night or so, that you may entertain her with stories of adventure and bravado. So,
Oh boy.
y'all have a few hours before that time, since it's like only midday. So, if there's
Yep.
anything you wish to do, feel free to do so. The manor is a fairly big structure. There are servants and there are a few house guard that patrol around the area. However, that aside, for the most part, the area is open to you, with some exceptions. No going into the private rooms, but the public rooms and public areas you're more than welcome to go through. You are, of course, also welcome to meeting with Roland and your mercenaries.
Yep.
And you may also.
I would hope so. We kind of sus as fuck if we
Yeah.
couldn't.
And the house guard are
Yeah.
made aware that you guys are allowed to be on the property. So if you want to step away and go, there is a nearby town. So if you guys wish, you can also step away and go there, and then come back.
So there's other things here.
Yep. So I leave you with options. The floor is yours, and of course, if you have any other options that you wish to discuss, go for it, guys.
It's just really a matter of how we're gonna get that sword away from her.
Yeah.
Probably easing into. Honestly, telling her would probably be the direction to go. But
I don't know how much she would believe that though.
yeah,
Just how much does this lady believe?
we,
And not to mention, if we told her
the thing is though,
and it backfires, she may want to keep the silver sword even more.
Oh, we're not telling her. No. No. No, we don't tell her about what the actual sword is. Like no. But yeah, well,
it's not
first
like
of
I'm gonna
all,
walk into a study and be like, "Hey, you know, you
Give
got
me-
a legendary artifact in your possession, right?"
Yeah, it's ours now. Go full pirate mode.
By the authority of the Inquisition.
Wait.
Pull out my rosette.
The Inquisitor,
Maybe that.
the Electu, the little inquisitorial badge.
I bet you don't even know who your local elector count is.
Oh!
That's one of the things I want to be doing when we're talking to her is trying to see if we can get a read on her, I guess. Because we know some things, but
Yeah.
that's
Well,
more
we know
like
she kind of crazy.
Hmm.
Just not like completely gone, but she's getting there.
She's spooked.
She's
Yeah. I
she's
could try
very
doing that since I have
strong.
decent insight.
Me too, I believe.
What you guys plan to do? Oh, hello?
Well,
It's just you now. Sorry.
Just me?
You're-
Just me.
Just me.
I'm just thinking if there's anything I want to do before we like skip ahead, I guess. I'm gonna get some water and give it a thing.
Piss off the local authorities.
Probably not do that.
attempts to pacify the local authorities by putting them all to sleep.
I want to find the prince and give him a good slug.
Well, I mean, I guess you could. But that would be a masquerade breach.
Wrong campaign! God damn it!
Breach confirmed.
Wrong campaign! Wrong campaign!
Is it now?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Nothing for now, since I think it wasn't much time between doing stuff and then dinner time, so we'll just have to tell her the stories of our people.
You have a few hours, and of course, there are other things you could do. You can go around you can go and check around things. You can always talk to Roland. Roland seems to have a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
I guess we can ask Roland to throw his stories into the ring, since he must have seen a thing or two.
Yeah, he's
For sure.
got some stories to share, no doubt.
Yeah.
But remember,
I
he is not
probably-
invited to the table yet.
Yeah. Even so, I'd like to get, some of his stories in there.
Alright. You want to go talk to
Yeah.
Roland and talk to him about some stories?
Yeah.
Very well. And then, Mordrin, what did you have planned?
Probably for him, he's gonna try to map out the place as much as he can. Like, basically check like what places he can go into, what places he can't. And like, basically narrow down the places where that sword possibly could be. Because I'm assuming it's not gonna be like literally in plain sight in a public place, because that's stupid.
It's in the dead center of the Grand Hall, just there.
On display.
Not even in a case, it's just being held by a chain in the dead center of the room.
Yep. It's got a
Bullshit.
bike lock
Mortimer-
on it.
Probably literally just be like, okay, route the exit. Just like, all right, put everyone to sleep as much as he
Then
can,
run away.
and then run with it. We got a minute to run, boys.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
It was literally something like that. It just been like, well, I guess their job was just made easier by stupidity.
Very well. Who wants to do their thing first, though? Since you're each kind of doing something different.
Yeah.
I don't
Shen wanna
really
do
have
something
anything
different?
that I want to do in the meantime.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
I
just
thought you
stay
were
out of.
thought you were gonna talk with Yvonne.
When we're doing storytelling is when I'll do it.
Okay. So you want to do at the storytelling? Okay. Was there anything you wanted to do prior to that? Because you have a few
Nope.
hours.
Probably just keep out of everyone's hair. It was like a garden or something, just chilling there for a bit.
Yeah.
The front of the manor has a nice little like garden area. Like imagine there's like a little, well, not quite a fountain, but like a little stone centerpiece, and the road kind of splits in sort of a big roundabout to get into the manor.
Roundabout.
Yeah, just like that. But it goes in a bit of a circle around, and then around the sides of the place are various things like a guard post, so utility buildings, and then barracks. So it's like on a wheel,
Alright.
and then at the very top of the wheel is the actual manor. So it's actually pretty big, like courtyard area that's like fenced off.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
So
I
if
will
you want, you
probably
can
be
like.
killing there.
All right. Mordrin, did you want to just go around exploring then?
Yep, pretty much. Just, you know, basically narrow down the places where this damn thing could be. Which would probably be in the places that he can't access to. You know? Think
Alrighty.
right.
So you gonna just be checking out the public areas, or are you gonna be poking and prodding around for places where you
Well,
probably shouldn't be?
Well, he's not gonna poke around. It's gonna be one of those things where it's just like, okay, this is obviously an area I'm not supposed to be. Then he's not gonna like, poke his head in. That's just
Okay.
inviting trouble. But he's just gonna take note of those places and then go in the public areas. And if he can't find that sword in the public area, which 99%, not gonna be there. He's gonna just, be like, okay, guys, here's where it possibly could be.
Okay.
No.
Canada.
You all do know what the sword looks like, by the way. You were
Yes.
given like a
Yeah.
profile of the sword, so.
Yeah, and Mordorin knows, more because he actually studied the damn thing.
Yep. So you'll have no problem identifying what it looks like. Oh, Roland's still on the thing. Let's pull Roland off the.
Pull Roland? No.
Oh no!
All right,
Our
Roland,
friend.
you can go. Thank you, Roland. He'll be back later. All right, make me an investigation check.
Okay, what is my investigation now?
Please make a crustification check.
Oh, what?
Yeah, crust.
What?
It's to see if you're how many
Wow.
pixels. It's to see how many polygons you have today. It could be anywhere from 2,000 to 64.
I'm starting off strong, guys. It's one of those things, just like, you know what?
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
I'm just gonna look at the garden, see Levine there, and just sit. Like,
Yeah.
this is it.
You are.
I just go to one place, like, nah. I don't feel like being social today. Possibly, I don't want to run into people. Ugh.
Ugh, people. You don't really have too many places that you don't like find, I guess. You sort of lose your way around the manor. So you're not able to really find too many places that are really that restricted to you. In fact, a lot of the manor is pretty open to access. There's a lot of open there's a lot of open rooms, presumably like guest rooms and stuff. There is the study, which you guys met with the Lady Yvonne, and then there was a what was it? And then there is one other room which you do find, which is the kitchen. Actually, you do come across the kitchen, which is one room that you're.
Right.
It's not really that you're not supposed to be there, but it's just like, why are you there?
Can you not?
You know where the kitchen is, but you probably shouldn't be there.
Yeah. I'm not the cook. Why would I be here?
Yeah.
And also, I found the court.
Huh?
And also, I found the courtyard.
Yep. Peering through some of the windows, you do get a view of the courtyard as well, given that you kind of wander around the manor.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of empty rooms, and something you kind of note is just kind of like many of the rooms, hallways, and just about everywhere is just decorated with some manner of weaponry of sorts, whether it's just like a sword here, an axe there, maybe a nice looking shield or suit of armor taking up a spot in the manor. there's no every level of the area is just decorated with some sort of armor, weaponry, or some sort of like tool of war.
Sure. She really likes her equipment.
Yeah, well, we knew this, so it's just like,
Makes sense. This family
yeah,
family was known for blacksmith.
Yeah.
yeah, they like.
A noble lord who was a
This
former
tribe
I
is
think
blacksmith.
it's blacksmithing, weaponsmithing.
Yeah, he was a smith. He forged everything. Blacksmith, weaponsmith. I mean, short of making a
They're
gun,
known for the
essentially.
weapons.
Well, he's a smith, not an artificer, so
Yeah.
maybe somewhere in the family line there will be an artificer.
Well, I mean, the line dies with her, sadly.
Oh,
So.
Yeah, unless if she's like, you know what, find
She's,
another husband, I guess.
That's why she became
She's
much more withdrawn.
Well,
yeah, she's inherited the family's things, but she's not. She married into the family,
yeah.
True.
so she's not. Yeah. So, which is why she's not a skilled artisan of sorts. It's or not. That's not to say she's not a skilled artisan of sorts, but she's not their kind of artisan. You know. She's not what she's not the rest of the family's artisanry because she had
Yeah.
married into the family.
She's like a 3.0, and these guys are like
Well,
Harvard.
Yeah.
I guess it's gonna have to. I'm gonna have to say it's gonna have to be like this then. Loads gun.
Oh.
I'm just gonna spend the rest of the time just hanging out with Lamine, just because it's just like, wah.
Alrighty. But yeah, no, there's a few open empty rooms, but that's really it. And the kitchen.
Yeah,
So-
wah.
So you retire for now and meet with Lamine.
Spend time to read. That's surprising.
Yeah.
Very well. Yasha, you wish to meet with Roland.
Yeah.
So on your way through, you happen across a slightly lost and wandering Mordarin, and pass into what you figure is more of the, not so much the servant quarters area, but you know, sort of the less prominent. This is where the soldiers would kind of hang around. It's not so much a barracks, but it's more like this part of the manor seems less manor-like and more like a barracks. The hallway is filled with, of course, various tools of war, and you could see the men are getting themselves comfortable, palling around, and you know, just kind of setting themselves up. You see sort of Roland, who's also not so much goofing off, but sort of taking himself a rather relaxed approach when he notices you and sort of greets you in a more formal manner. And he's like, "Ah, so, how's the lady then, huh?"
Strange.
Yeah, I know that one. She's a weird gal, but that's what happens to noble folks that get estranged with their lineage, I guess. You either you take up the blade, or you just, you know, do something strange with your life, I guess.
Just Yasha furrows his brows like, are all nobles like this?
No. If Lamine was there, probably like,
I'm pretty sure Roland knows at this point that Yasha's not,
Yeah.
civilization.
And he's like,
What the-
well, some of them are decent, but at least that's what they've told me. But I've, you know,
Some of them.
some of them are decent. But in my time working under my own house, I never quite found myself seeing eye to eye with most of them. So I'm not the best person to talk about it.
That's okay. I don't think I'll ever see eye to eye with them either.
Well, that's fine. Some folks can be good, and I mean, Lady Yvonne might be a strange one, but she's certainly not the worst of the worst.
That's true.
yeah, we could agree with that. Yep.
That is
Anyways,
indeed.
I take it you had a very fun chat with the lady, though.
Don't think not yet, right?
Well, you introduced
really.
You
yourselves.
talked to her briefly.
Yeah. But yeah, Yasha's just. Well, I don't say much.
Mm.
Just nods.
All right. Well, I'm guessing
But-
you'll be off to dine with the good lady. I hope you'll be able to entertain her with some good old battle stories.
Just nod and yeah. I was hoping to have help with that.
Oh.
I don't talk much,
Ah, not much of a talker, eh? That's
so I
fine.
need help putting together a decent story.
Help me too. I should have
So, you need some stories, don't you?
Well, maybe just help putting one together. I have some
Mordred's
story,
story
but
would be him staring ominously at her.
yeah, just stares. Miko
You
stare.
don't
Miko
Go
stare.
Spice of stare.
Stop that.
But Yasha's just like, well, I have stories, some not that great, but he's like, I don't talk much. I don't really know how to tell story. I just say, I just say.
Well, I do have one idea I could probably help you. That could probably help you. Though I don't know if I wouldn't recommend this sort of talk around the table of a lady. But I can at least help you
Doesn't
form a
understand.
story.
Just like he gets a head tilt.
So Roland sort of waves you in to follow after, and he walks into one of the rooms where some of the mercenaries are all just sort of palling around and sort of chatting, and they sort of stop as they see Roland sort of step on in, and he's just like, "All right, boys." So I know we only just kind of started, but I was thinking we could, talk a little shop. How about we have ourselves a bit of a chit chat, And so some of the men kind of look a little bit befuddled as they're, some of these guys have clearly not really seen much or any battle at all, whereas some of the more grizzled looking of the bunch sort of kind of recognize what he's talking about, and they begin to sort of gather around in almost like a story circle set up, and they start swapping stories with each other, talking about some of the fights they were in, and you're able to kind of catch a glimpse of some of what these soldiers have sort of dealt with, some of these mercenaries, whether it's patrol duties gone wrong, or skirmishes that have happened, or other jobs they took where they had to get into a fairly, well, maybe not a nasty fight, but they got into a fairly good fight with other soldiers or other monsters of sort. So they do sit you down and you kind of listen in on these stories, and you sort of pick up on the language a bit as well, on how they're talking and what they're saying and how they're sort of responding to each other.
I see.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a moment of camaraderie as well, as some of these soldiers kind of share a bit of a interesting like insights of what they did and how they got through their own situations. So for that, you'll have a small inherent bonus, which I'll confer at the
Okay.
at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And of course, Yasha will try to join in. He hasn't anything as crazy, but has a few stories of hunting when he was younger, when he was fucking 8 years old hunting boars.
I mean, to put it into comparison, some of these stories, while some of them get pretty interesting, they don't really compare much to the things you did in the first dungeon.
I see.
Most of these guys have probably never seen a skeleton or a zombie in their life.
Yeah, but it does set a precedent for at least, and the idea is that maybe Yasha can pick up on that language and almost kind of like
fuck the undead.
Not even. Yeah. So basically he's gonna use their language, but for like the first dungeon ish.
Yeah.
But maybe like alter some details, obviously.
Yeah.
Just maybe keep it a little vague, like I have fought the undead.
Yeah.
It was the time.
In most cases, some of these battles are like either like having a run-in with another patrol of orcs or goblins that they've come across, or some of the Steplander folk or the mountain folk that have come down from the forests near Valvadiri.
Yeah, but
whereas
again, it
others
also
are, more like town guard patrol, a petty robber deciding to try and make a run for it, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Nothing too crazy, but some interesting stories.
Oh.
But yeah. In relative terms, though, you probably have the most interesting of stories unfortunately.
Yeah, but one day you can't even
Unfortunately,
tell.
Yeah.
but at the same time, you can have an interesting story, but when your language is basically like, there was a skeleton, we stabbed it. It's like, oh, it's kind of anticlimactic.
we found a monster in the hole and we killed it and all that stuff.
Yeah, and then that was done. It's gone now.
Yeah. I can imagine Yasha like fighting a dragon, and then people are like, "Wow, tell us a story." And it's just like, "Yeah, the dragon came, we killed it." Uh-oh.
It was pretty scary. We stabbed it pretty good though, and it's dead now.
Good stuff.
Not like what?
But yeah, so your sort of conversations with some of these mercenaries have kind of given you a better insight on how you probably want to convey your story for when you talk to Lady Yvonne at the table. Roland contributes a little bit as well on his stories, and not so much as the stories themselves that help you make your story better, but you do kind of get an interesting insight on Roland himself, which I'll give to you just kind of just to go with this decision. So Roland himself kind of mentions that he actually used to be part of Valvadiri. He himself was a nobleman as well, but given his upbringing, he just kind of didn't really see eye to eye, and his family noble lineage was so minor that he kind of didn't take his lineage very serious, so he kind of left the family and moved to Brosnov. And he mentions that a lot of what he earned, like a lot of what made him become him, came from going to become to becoming a mercenary in Brosnov. And he does tell a few interesting tales of like fighting stepfolk that have tried to invade, and kind of also mentioning on some of the creatures that wander in and out of the Badlands, as he likes to criticize on the knights and their supposed tight-fisted grip on the Badlands borders. He often mentions that warbands easily slip past the knights, and they often like to come into the nearby villages that sit between Valvadiri and Brosnov, and that's where most of his experiences come from, is dealing with those that kind of slip between those defenses, and they come in droves, and those are probably the more interesting stories he's told. One in particular he's mentioned is battling out with with a troll-led band of orcs. There was a pretty big old troll that kind of like had gotten pretty wise and was able to get a few orcs to just sort of follow it, and they slipped past the defenses of the knights, and they were terrorizing a local town not far from Brosnov's walls. And he mentions about how the trolls out in the Badlands are pretty nasty, and they're a lot more aggressive than your average troll. And yeah, he talked about some close calls there, and pretty much before he took a break from the mercenary business, or at least leading a warband, he dealt with a pretty nasty fight there. After that, he said he kind of took his time to live in Brosnov and sort of work his time as a bodyguard. And you sort of kind of get an understanding of how the town functions, where everyone's pretty much a crook there.
Everyone's a fucking thief.
Everyone's a fucking thief. Everyone's got money. Everyone's willing to spend it or lose it. So,
Every time I hear a City of Thieves, I just think of that one fucking, what was it, that Adventure Time episode?
Yeah.
Where there's people looting up each other on the spot.
Literally, you can't turn a corner without somebody's taking your wallet.
He says to the point where nobody even gives a shit what they lose, so they're just stealing each other's shit constantly.
Yep. He says it's borderline pandemonium in some places.
Oh Lord.
And so a person like him got a lot of work because of those kinds of places.
Makes sense.
He made it pretty big, and most of the time it wasn't even just like he wouldn't have to like lift a finger. He just had he was more like a presence rather than anything, because you just see a dude walking around like armed head to toe, falling around somebody. It's just like you don't really go and try and rob that guy.
Understandable.
Understandable. Yeah. He's packed to the teeth with guns and a big ass sword.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so not so much as like something to really help you with your story, but you kind of get an insight of like Brosnov itself and some of the things that they
Yeah.
sort of deal with, which is to
And
say
Roland.
it's a different type of struggle. And Roland, yeah, you do learn a bit about Roland. Yeah, he himself was a noble, but then he kind of quit the noble business.
These war bands. What do you think of the Khajiit?
The Khajiit,
Oh my god.
they have coins. They have layers of
No,
hidden
that's-
coin.
That's Khajiit, no Khajiit.
Khajiit? Yeah.
You know, like what was that one lord? Fucking, I can't remember. Let's move on.
Ah, okay.
It's only funny if I could remember it, and I don't remember it.
Oh no! Wait, was this Total War?
No, this is a warband, kid. The Khajiit,
Oh,
fucking-
the Kurgan tribes.
the Khajiit, Khajiit,
Yeah,
the Kurgans.
those fucking guys and their horse archers. Yeah, they come down from the hills all the time.
They would too, fuckers. A lot of them.
That's
Imagine the
This is
horses
why-
somehow managed to do a bow and arrow, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, that is terrifying.
They hold it in their mouth. It's like a crossbow at that point. They
Oh,
use their
no.
tongues to like fling the bow string.
What the fuck?
now this is getting terrifying. Moving on.
Perfect time for Yasha. Your stories are getting kind of weird.
Yasha, your stories are getting weird, man. Anyways, Lamine, you are joined by Mordorin, who has, after some searching, found nothing short of empty rooms and a kitchen,
Yep, pretty much.
and has
Well, I'm
joined
just
you in the courtyard of the manor.
Yep, just sulk.
Sulks.
Yeah.
I'm lamenting
bet so.
not reading the book.
Yeah.
At least the flowers are pretty.
Yeah. Well, probably after a while of sulking, Mordorin will literally be like, Lamine, I need a story. He doesn't even ask. He's just like, I need one.
I need one.
I need it.
Are you certain that you don't have any stories that you can modify on your own end?
He shakes his head like almost immediately, like, nope. Nope, he can't modify that story.
Oh boy.
Just
Nothing at
Miko
all.
Just Miko stare at the table.
Oh god.
Mordorin just kind of stares at Lamine and he just like, nope.
Is it because you don't have any stories to tell, or is it because you don't want to water those stories down?
He just kind of looks away for a moment and just kind of responds with, "I need a story." He's clearly avoiding answering the question.
Well, it's an answer enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, no one's, all things considered, no one's really forcing you to tell a story. I was expecting to take up most of it, to be honest.
This is a just in case scenario.
You do have also the story. I'm assuming you've got your story set about the legendary dwarf who you guys fought alongside.
Yeah. Yeah, well, besides that, I mean, Mordorin could be the one to tell that story. I guess it'll be the time to be like, hey, we should tell this story. And that'll probably be it.
And that'll be it.
I mean, yeah. If Mordor wanted to take over the telling of the drunk dwarf mistaking a bunch of
Just a bunch of
random
trolls.
humans for trolls, it's like,
Yeah.
buddy, those were people. I know you're crazy, but were you drunk too?
He
Like,
was all,
in a pint of ale. Yeah.
he's not even. Unfortunately, he was not only drunk, but he was also on drugs.
Crazy, drugged out, and drunk.
He was definitely not Santa Claus.
We're
Oh, definitely not Santa Claus.
like, we should be lucky he just saw them as trolls. Like, we should be lucky he even saw them as like creatures, and not just
Eldritch beings. It's just like,
drumstick.
oh,
I'm
they're
gonna go
eldritch
and
creatures.
I'm gonna fetch the crustiest picture of Grumbrindle I can find. Oh, it's perfect! I found it!
Oh no. Oh no.
It's a picture of Total War, but it's on 240 pixels.
Oh god. No, not that crusty.
But is it deep fried?
Oh god.
I don't want deep fried whatever the hell you're talking about.
Red dwarf.
Yeah.
Deep fried dwarf.
He is the white dwarf.
He is.
He's deep fried not anymore.
He is the deep fried dwarf. Oh god. Where's my picture folder? In any case.
I mean, you could certainly for that one if you want. Just feel free to embellish it as you see fit.
Mortarin thinks about it. Is he a good storyteller? Oh boy. Or is he gonna be as bad as Yasha and just be like, yep, boss thought these dumb humans were trolls. They weren't.
I mean, I doubt this lady's
Goes
looking.
back to reading.
This lady probably isn't really looking for Shakespeare. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, I found the image.
Great. I can't wait to see this image.
There it is. We got it. We got it.
I can't wait. Oh god. Why?
It's beautiful.
That's
It's
pretty
beautiful. It's
pretty Grumbrindle.
beautiful. This is why we're called the boyfriend.
Yep. You take one good look. You take one look at that face and tell me it's not beautiful.
I am the white dwarf.
Washuk.
That's the picture I was telling you about, by the way.
That's a face he made as he declared those people were trolls.
Yeah. Trolls.
Trolls.
Trolls!
Scum.
She's sure of it?
Oh,
God.
man. Yeah.
We didn't get to
Actually,
that.
since Yasha is good at calligraphy, as a small snippet, that'll be the fucking dwarf that he draws for that'll be the thing that he draws for fucking Roland, like as a mental representative or something. Or I guess Lamine would also see it too, since she's the one telling the story. Just
Oh,
this,
God.
I
Not
think
relevant,
this
but
best
relevant.
represents our dwarf, and he just calligraphies that face. Maybe a little more stylized, but you know.
Oh, man.
I mean, this is our dwarf. Just that picture.
My favorite dwarf thing from Warhammer, though, I think it will always be when they settled a grudge against a mountain.
Yes,
I love that
I-
story.
By
The
mining it into the ground.
The most Dawi thing ever is, yo, fuck that mountain, leveled it.
Ever hated a mountain so much he just mined it into a fine hill.
Useless resources doesn't matter. Take it to the ground.
That mountain dropped boulders at our caravan. We're gonna mine the shit out of it. They did. They fucking destroyed it.
I just love the fact that there's hundreds of dwarfs that you just have to go over to them and you tell them the mountain has wronged us, and they're like, man, fuck that mountain. They all jump in.
Oh, my God.
This is why Warhammer Fantasy has arguably the best dwarfs in all of fantasy.
Yeah, for real.
Yes. I mean, if a dwarf has your back in fantasy, Jesus H Christ, I don't think there's anything you could do that would like. You'd be like, wow, that orc over there fucked me up, and the dwarf will just you don't have to say anything. The orc is already reaching for his axe. Like, all right,
Just the dwarf
Did he
is sitting
now?
like, did he now?
I got you, fam.
Why are just all of our campaigns full of crazy dwarves? I still remember the freaking dwarf with the freaking rocket launcher, but
No.
naked in a Walmart, and then proceeded to destroy the entire Walmart.
He was probably a Dowie.
I mean,
That was
Hilda pretty
Grumbrindle.
okay.
That was old Grombrindle.
She just had grudge issues
Shadow-
against dragons.
Shadowrun Grombrindle.
Hey, grudges.
It wouldn't be too
Grudges
far out of his
ain't the man.
character.
You're not wrong.
Homeboy just skulking about until he needs to pop up and make an entrance. That's
And an entrance he did make, especially with all those security bots just showing up.
Crumber. What is that? A bazooka? No!
Not
No!
not to steer this campaign, but I'm still remembering that massive street brawl with everybody. They just showed up with a fucking crate load of grenades.
That was a lot.
Great.
There was a lot that happened in Shadowrun. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty
Was it
normal most of the time, but then every once in a while, it's like, what is... Where? How did we get to this point?
It just
sheer
gets crazier.
Why is
pandemonium.
Walmart exploding?
We blew
Hey,
up
man,
a Walmart in that campaign.
Look,
Yeah,
when you can buy grenades from a vending machine, it's not too hard to believe someone just gets a bucket, puts in a bunch of like a credit chip, and just goes, "All right, I'm just gonna mash this button here."
Just keep going, see what comes out.
I mean, in fucking Cyberpunk, they have disposable pistols you can buy from a vending machine,
Lord.
True.
and they're like shitty plastic pistols that actually kill people.
God.
Shadowrun things.
Just Cyberpunk in general, just
So,
nonsense.
coming back to the campaign, Mordorin, Lamine, please make perception checks.
Can
Oh,
do.
do I have to?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
Free perception.
14.
Man, those are some really pretty flowers.
It's a
These are
real
nice
pretty flower.
flowers.
I like flowers. Heck, heck.
The courtyard is it's a pretty large area because it's all the front area. So you don't really take much notice of this, but you do, Mordred, you do take notice that there is a caravan arriving that is let through the front gate, and it looks like there are more visitors that have arrived.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
More visitors.
Great.
More people.
I'm just gonna look at the flowers too because Mordering can't handle this shit anymore.
I can't take it anymore.
You just see Mordering just like notice that and just continue to stare at flowers. It's like,
You happen to catch sight of a small cart that's towing, or a small little, not a cart, but like an actual stagecoach that's being like pulled in, and beside the stagecoach, it's almost unbelievable to your eyes, is a humanoid-like figure that it rivals the size of the height of the stagecoach, following alongside it, beside and being trailed off by a handful, just a small handful of knights, like 3 of them. I hear more
By
barking.
large humanoid, you mean like an ogre?
You're not able to catch sight of this, given your distraction with the flowers. However, you do see a shape almost
I'm not
poking
asking
out
it.
from above the stagecoach.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not able to really discern it, but it looks humanoid. It's just like something huge because it's able to poke its head pretty clear above the stagecoach.
Yeah, true.
It's a giant.
A giant would be like towering.
uh,
It'd be hard to miss a
That's
giant.
Giant's gonna be a lot easier to spot.
yeah.
The
It's
giant is Mario Karting it, so he's like all like bunched up. He's just like uncomfortably bald in there.
After a moment of just like, I should pretend that I didn't see anything, but I probably should because this might compromise everything.
I mean,
And Mordred just kind of sighs and just like starts walking towards the coach to see if he can get a better look at what the hell is going on over here.
Well, you see the knights sort of like kind of
Once I realize what like
Hmm.
is happening, by the way, I'll be following. Like I see him leave. Like, huh?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
guessing you follow after Mordorin to go check it out. You do kind of catch notice, and you see one of the knights who are trailing behind. As soon as the stagecoach comes to a stop at the front of the manor, um, you see one of the knights behind the stagecoach that were following behind it, go forward and open the stagecoach out, and you kind of catch a glimpse of a rather well adorned looking knight, with a sort of a crimson red hood covering over their face. They look very, very different.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
beside this hooded armored figure is follows after this large humanoid figure in a very distinctly different set of armor. So to compare the two, and they look different from the other knights as well. The other knights are adorned in sort of, I mean, they look more similar to the hooded one, but from what you've seen, so the hooded knight has a really nice silvery and darkened out armor. There's like a bit of a trim to it, and it's from the lower half is sort of like an, not so much like a skirt, but like an armored like skirting, I guess.
Hmm.
And sort of that covers around from the back to the front, and just a red hood. They have fairly dark gauntlets with a fairly almost jagged like look. It almost resembles like, all the shape almost resembles like flames in a way, where it's like little not so much spikes, but more like a tapering, I guess, to sort of describe it. Like you know how like a flamberge has that sort of wiggle to it?
yeah.
It's much similar in the design on some of like the pauldrons and gauntlets. It's not so much spikes, but sort of like little parts that are sort of tapering. Um, and then to the you're not able to discern much features as the knight is remains hooded. Their face is concealed by this really vibrant crimson hood that covers over their head, and the flowing red capes. You're not able to get much out of their figure. However, the large figure you're able to very easily discern, um, as it is. You probably actually Mordorin would easily identify them a lot easier.
Oh no, I don't like hearing that.
Yeah, this you identify
Are
this
we,
individual as a tall.
are we already
Hmm,
are we already going back to
you
that
recognize
catchphrase?
this?
You recognize this person?
Yeah, no, you are familiar with these folks. This is a
Oh
No.
no.
this is a Vinton woman.
Okay, okay.
um,
I'm just like,
yeah,
Oh,
you are
vintage
able.
people.
Yep,
Okay.
this is a Vinton. They are, and
The big northern
Vinton.
people.
This is a Vinton woman. She is adorned head to toe in less bulky armor and more of leathers and more of like a leather and like lamellar armor so to speak. Um, her face is concealed. However, there's a bit of a ponytail that sort of pokes out from the back end and droops down just past her shoulders. And her helmet is a silver. It's a silver skull. Oh, not silver, but like an iron skull cap with a set of chains that drape below the eyes and conceals everything from the eyes down in the sort of like a,
mm,
almost like a curtain or like a veil, but it's like a metallic veil. Her one most the helmet is adorned with a pair of ram horns that spiral downwards, almost like the Skyrim helmet, but has an extra spin to it. And unlike the hooded knight, who doesn't appear to be carrying any weapons at all, the Vinton is carrying a real freaking huge sword and a bow on her back. The other knights are adorned in similar crimson fashion, although theirs is a lot more ragged looking, actually. Like the skirts are more torn and hewn at parts, and their armor definitely doesn't look the prettiest, but Yeah, these knights more closely resemble the hooded knights uniform more.
Yeah.
And the
Chaos cultists.
Murder just gives a little sigh and just like, is it too late to go home?
Only a little sigh?
Only a little sigh because he doesn't want them to hear. He'll let out a bigger sigh later. It's just like, is it too late to go home?
My
I believe
forest
it was
is the
too late when
home.
you started working for mages. Do they have any emblems or sigils or any sort of identification that I might recognize? Or are they
from your distance, you're not really able to see.
not even on the
Actually,
carriage?
make a perception. I'll give you that.
Okay.
Knowing Mortarin just will try to.
Well, it's technically better.
13.
13.
Yeah.
And then
I can't see shit.
Lamine.
I got a
Oh,
7.
you rolled a 7. Okay. You're.
Yep.
I'll give this one to you. So on the carriage, you are able to catch out what appears to be a It almost has this sort of like it's a red figure, and it almost looks like an effeminate figure, cloaked in red, and then almost like a almost like a flame just sort of surrounding the sigil.
I
like
hope I don't
engraving.
recognize that.
Maybe. What's your knowledge on
Oh.
knights?
Mm,
Because from what you've gathered, this is definitely a knightly order.
okay. In that case, probably not, unless if they're, indigenous to my area. But
Well,
if they're not, then probably not.
well, you've come across Bastion knights before, but they've never looked like that before.
Yeah, that's clear.
So. Yeah, this is I will go ahead and say that this is definitely your first encounter with knights that resembled this sort of look.
Yeah, then I don't like that. Like, no, don't like that. But I will definitely keep, like, in my little journal thing, just write down the description of the Sigma. I'm gonna look that up later.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the only problem they are at the moment is that, oh God, why are they here with us? Please, dear God.
I'm sure they have some fun
Why?
stories to tell.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm gonna go find our buddies and make sure that they know that we have company.
Sounds good.
So wherever the heck Roland and Yasha are swapping stories at.
They'll be in the soldiers' quarters, the barracks, the quote unquote barracks, the guest barracks, I guess would be the best way to call it. So, after some looking around, you don't catch sight of the knights, as they're no doubt being greeted and conversing with the lady of the house. However, you do meet with Yasha and Roland, who
I'm
catch.
almost tempted to follow these people, but at the same time, like, kind of bad taste.
Up to you. You can go and listen in on their conversations.
I'm not interested in the conversation. I'm more interested in where they're going. Cause I'm not sneaky enough to be like, hey, I'm eavesdropping.
That would mean you'd probably be listening on their conversations, unless you want to find some documents on them. Which I'm.
God. Imagine me finding documents on them right now.
I don't think these guys are really into carrying loose papers.
Yeah.
Papers, please.
Shit.
So, Roland, what are these stories not meant for women folk you were talking about? What is that?
Well, not so much as that they're not meant for them. I'm sure Lady Yvonne would be fine. It's just the manner in which you would be speaking about them, you know? This is more of a warrior's talk, and many noble folk aren't too, shall we say, strong-hearted to handle such conversations, and the manner that many of the men here do. Now, that's not to say a lady couldn't
Think
handle
about it.
this, but you know,
So-
it's perhaps if it were a lady that was not like Lady Yvonne, she would perhaps not take too kindly to the mannerisms of our folk.
So I should not describe carnage.
Yes,
Then.
keep that to a minimum. People don't
Just-
like to share food and gore together, unfortunately. So the talking of smushing brains doesn't quite sit well with their mashed potatoes.
just Yasha's just like clearly doesn't get it. It's just like, but gore is food sometimes. Just clearly just like I don't get it.
Oh, dude.
Maybe don't phrase it like that.
You know what? I'm gonna leave it up to the dice.
Oh boy.
Oh boy,
Okay.
R&D time.
All right. 10 and above, he's going to attempt to eavesdrop. He will not. He decides to play the safe.
His wisdom says not today.
Yep,
What
his
is your
wisdom says
Curious
not
what
today.
it is.
What is your
His
wisdom?
wisdom and his chaos has decided no.
Or I guess he failed his curiosity check since it's an 8, so
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, nah, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah. It's one of those things where he's like fighting against his nature and also the wise decision. Because he's wise, but he's also, I don't want to call him paranoid. He just wants to know as much information as possible, which is technically paranoia.
Hmm.
Let's say inquisitive rather than paranoid.
Yeah,
I'd say
inquisitive.
inquisitive is more accurate.
I mean,
Yeah.
paranoid can still probably work for him, but at least in this instance, it's less
Yeah.
paranoid. But like, you really want to know.
Do you really want to know?
Well, apparently Mordorin doesn't really want to know.
I guess you don't.
It's not worth the risk. Essentially.
Fair enough. Also,
Yeah.
I'm moving Grumbrindle to the top corner now.
he gets a spot at the table.
He gets a spot at
Yeah.
the table since you'll be talking about him. The great Karazakarak.
I can't wait to have more things done there with him on there.
Wazak. Oh man. We gotta get back on that campaign, by the way, boss. Anyways,
Yeah, we do.
I'm
But
guessing
Valheim.
Valheim too, yeah. So I'm guessing, Lamine, you fill in with Roland and Yaksha on what's going on, since they pretty much have just been spending this entire time trading stories. You kind of find the lads all bunched together in the same in their little spots, just trading stories, and Roland having a laugh at things he was doing. You know, all that good stuff. So you come on in, and they sort of welcome you in the same cheery fashion as they've been kind of carrying, the same kind of energy they've been carrying throughout the night, or not the night, but throughout the day. They're like, what brings you into the barracks?
A group of knights has arrived at this estate.
Some of the men have a collective look of either confusion or disapproval. Roland, as you can clearly tell, is not pleased by this. He's like, knights, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Knights.
I probably should have mentioned that with this decision, I probably would have followed Lamine.
Oh, alright.
Like, yep, he's not going rogue today.
Today.
Does a
Today.
red-clad knight mean anything to you?
Red clad. Red clad. What's their? Did you get a look at their crests?
Mordorin starts
woman
explaining how it looks like.
A woman wreathed in flame.
A woman wreathed in flame. They're
Also
perhaps-
red.
They're perhaps the worst of the knights. I take the Leon Guard's dogs over these lads.
Oh,
They're the Order of the Red Lady. Not a very colorfully inventive name, no, but they're perhaps probably the worst of the bunch.
That says a lot.
Yep.
Anything specific?
Well, they're as you probably may or may not know, many of the orders serve a specific function to the Bastion in their ways. Some of the orders... Hold on, let me check through my notes so I can actually get the names right. Sorry, I always forget the names myself. Where'd my notes go? There it is. So, we have the the Order of the Kraken, also known as Order of the Rose. Well, I suppose it's Order of the Rose, but Order of the Kraken themselves are a particular bunch that like to live, that are well known out here. They are the experts of the ocean. Order of the Lion Guard. They're your golden boys. These are the men that you'll come across most often. We have the Order of the Rock, and those are the most unlikely bunch, and almost not even realize they're knights. However, the Order of the Lady, they are perhaps the most sinister bunch. They are the Order's specialists in terms of arcane magics, divinity, and otherwise. However, they are also their experts in fire and alchemy, and they're known to be the most cruel of the bunch, as they take to their experiments prisoners and blackguards. If I was a knight deciding to leave the order, I certainly would not want to have any of those folk coming after me. He sort of explains.
Yay! Is it too late to go home?
Yep.
It's a
Yeah.
they're
Yasha
far
just not sadly.
they're far from home, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, most of these knights are fairly aware of their sense of pride, and they're aware of their delusion of how they just simply carry their pride to get away with their heinous acts. Members of the Order of the Red Lady are particularly devious in the fact that they seem convinced that what they do is rather righteous indeed. So, they're not the most popular groups. That being said, they're usually not left to their own devices, and often are accompanied by the Lion Guard. So, if they're there, then hopefully we should be fine, so long as one of the others are there. You wouldn't have happened to have noted anyone else that came along with them that stood out, did you? Perhaps anyone in blue?
With the
didn't see
Vinton in blue?
Did we see anyone in blue?
Yeah.
Don't believe.
With the Vinton in blue?
The Vinton was not.
Vinton
blue.
was red.
Yeah.
No, the
I don't
Vinton was
think
not
so.
in red either. The Vinton actually was different, but he was
Oh,
not.
were they?
She was not in
More-
red.
Yeah. Mortar would just reply, there was a Vinton. So that's about it.
A strange looking Vinton.
Then that would probably be the escort then. Ah. Damn.
So we beat them up?
No, in fact, we do everything we can to keep their attention off of us. I've had my
It's
run-in
time
with a few members of the Order of the Red Lady. They're not great. They're terrible people, and I've worked with some real scum.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure how long we'd be able to keep attention off of us, since we are also guests here. And
Do you think
eventually, I assume that they will know that there are other guests besides themselves.
You don't think they're here because of that, do you?
I don't want that to happen.
Unfortunately, I
You
don't
can just
believe.
see Mortar get more pessimistic by the minute.
I haven't exactly had good experience with coincidences.
Mm.
So I would like to believe that they're here just as randomly as.
As a player or as a character? Because wow, boy howdy.
Well,
It's
in
alright.
either
BTM
case,
was full of coincidences, right, guys?
well,
Right?
in any case, you should stay on watch. Vinton are often the Order of the Rock. And if that Vinton wasn't sporting blue or anything of a lion on them, then that very much means that they're not here to make sure that the alchemist is playing nice.
Would I be able to glean anything about that Vinton from my knowledge of Vinton, perhaps?
You can most certainly try a roll.
Can I
don't
try
know
as well?
how. Because since my backstory is kind of, he lived near Vinton.
You've lived
Let's
near
see if there's
Vinton. I
What
will.
the
You know
coin?
what? I will give you advantage for a. Let's see. What exactly do you want to know about them? Do you want to know about the kind of like the sort of people they are, or?
Yeah.
I really should have like a list of the skills just on hand with me. Let me take a look at Mythweavers real quick. See just the character sheet. Come on. That is not my login. I have a better idea. There you are. Oh, it's Hamada.
Huh?
Hey,
Huh?
Hamada. I need to borrow your stats real quick.
He's like,
I'll
as you
take a-
grab him, like, as you fucking jostle him, and he's like, ah!
Just a very confused fox bard.
Just as you fucking jostle him for his stats.
Let's make it an insight check with advantage.
Okay.
Yeah. I will leave it to the expert. More expert than I.
Mordrin, you're more than welcome to make this. Oh, damn it! I probably shouldn't have done that. You're more than welcome
It
to
would
make this.
be 22.
22.
I'm not gonna beat a 22, but you know what? Fuck it, I'll try. I'll try to beat a 22.
Get a nat 20. That's
No.
not a nat 20.
All
Not
right.
a nat 20.
Well, from your knowledge of Vinton, given the description of the Order of the Red Lady, you kind of find that to be kind of very strange that a Vinton is like tasked with following around what is potentially a magic user, because
Yeah.
as you know very easily,
As you know.
Vinton are very wary of mages and wielders of the arcane magics.
Yeah.
However, there was mentioning of that that the Order of the Red Lady tend to kind of see themselves in almost like a divine sort of manner, but that still wouldn't really sway most Vinton, as they're more in terms of divinity, they're more in tune to their own cultures in regards to divinity than they are of others.
Yeah.
They are very fighty folk, that's for sure. They are essentially, as some would describe, the ideal adventurer, because they seek to learn of other, they seek to learn and wander and travel and see greater things, and they don't shrink from fights, and they welcome battles. And most importantly, they are they're well versed storytellers as well. Usually, the ones that travel a lot.
Yeah.
They are a boundless book of stories, as some of it is described. They are, they're a hardy folk, honest and hardworking, but
Hard workers.
yep. But yeah, you kind of gather that having been around Vinton relatively, that they're dangerous, but they're also good folk. For the most part, they kind of live a very different life apart from those you would consider like with Valvadiri.
Civilized.
They border on the term civilized at times.
Would you look at that? Yasha does too.
Yeah, so you'd probably find yourself in good graces with a Vinton, assuming they want to be in good graces.
Yeah.
You know for a fact that that, like I said, Vinton make excellent warriors and hunters. They practically have dragon slaying in their blood. Like if they are set to a task of seeking out and destroying or retrieving something, they're definitely the most ideal of
Okay.
folks for the job. So
They fighters.
they are natural-born fighters, adept warriors, very practiced travelers. They live a fairly nomadic life, and they are fairly famous. They're fairly famous for their icy cold stares, which have been known to like quite literally like intimidate a person to where they can't even move a finger, like like an almost paralyzing like stare. But yeah, Vinton folk are hardy people, and they are more aloof rather than open and welcoming. But it's not too difficult to get in the good graces of a Vinton as long as you can kind of give a show of strength in some manner or another, or kind of show that you're not just some chump.
Yeah.
Good to know. But I do bring up that it is weird too that there's a Vinton that's working with a group of essentially
Yeah.
arcane warriors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't bode well. That doesn't bode well at all. For the
Although
resistance.
there can always be, just like in nature, there are always deviants of their nature. So perhaps this is just a Vinton that's, not magic fearing.
Yep.
Which it Murder just like it doesn't matter at this point. What matters is now I can't really say it could be a coincidence. Even though deep down Murder knows it's not. He knows deep down. He wanted it to be, but it's not.
Not since the incident.
Not since the incident.
Funny enough, it. He's speaking about that. No.
Oh god.
Miko stare. What about a Vinton with a Miko stare then?
Oh god.
That's not so much cold as it is. Oh god.
This is like stop. It's more
Please.
annoying than anything.
They're very good at the Miko stare.
You don't want to bap this Vinton though. They will bap back and you will die.
Yeah. Good. I won't have to deal with this fucking Miko face anymore.
They just
Take
like
me from the flame.
they just
tuck me
punch
in, let me die.
they just punch you into a tree and keep you stuck there and they just resume staring.
I was thinking about like those cartoons where they like club you in the head with their fist and you sink like all the way down to your hip, and then they just like squat down Miko stare.
Jeez.
Oh.
So yeah, it is a bit strange as you kind of gather. It's a bit strange that somebody that's like a being who's kind of like typically either wary or afraid of magic users is hanging around a magic user.
Yeah. I don't like any of this.
If we're lucky. If we're lucky. There's something I want to discuss. If we're lucky and they are not here for the same reason that we are and they're just passing through, then all the better. But if that's not the case, if it came to it, I would like to avoid violence inside this household.
Do we have to share dinner with them?
Most likely.
Just like looking to whoever will fucking address Yasha. Just, are we gonna have to share dinner with them?
As guests, it would be proper, but as it stands, the only ones I think who would really need to show up is just myself. As at the moment, I am the leader of this group.
But I can't just have you go by yourself.
I'm not expecting swords to be drawn inside.
You're right. They might use their hands.
That's not what I mean.
Perhaps they have some sort of hidden knife or club too.
I should probably also mention this as well, Mordorin. Given your experience around Vinton, Vinton are tall. They're pretty tall folk.
Yeah.
This gal was tall for a Vinton.
Wonderful.
This is definitely bigger than your. This is definitely someone who's bigger and meaner than your regular Vinton.
Oh no! Don't tell me she's a half Vinton or something like that. I don't
no.
even want to know what you breed with a Vinton. I don't want to know.
Oh no, she's full Vinton.
Okay,
Maybe
great.
You are certain of that. You know that they can
the
get
way-
big, but typically no, they don't.
If you want a half Vinton, you just need someone who's really determined. Of either gender, honestly. You just need someone
brave.
really determined
Someone and brave.
and brave, yeah. Like
In any case,
or in Mari's case, exceptionally lustful, I suppose.
I
Mari,
gave her
Mari, you know, you're not wrong because Mari's character did romance a Vinton.
Oh my
look,
god.
sometimes
Sometimes you just wanna, yeah.
Sometimes you want to date something that can just baby you.
fair.
Just like you. That's just it.
Oh, okay.
That was it. That's like the fad these days, right? People want mommies.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's
Let's go with
definitely,
yes.
she
leave it
definitely
at
puts shame to the concept of that Resident Evil mommy.
Oh no.
I mean,
Excellent. This is just the I need the fucking guys just like
This is
excellent.
when Morderin just like, alright, Yasha, you're a monk. Remember that. You get the chastity belt.
He's not actually a monk. His class is just monk.
Oh no. Oh no.
Today,
Oh,
Yasha will prove his
no,
braveness.
Yasha, you're doing romance, Vinton.
What is this? A book of just, today? Yasha was brave.
Very brave.
She was brave.
He was never heard from again, but you know what? It wasn't that bad.
Jesus Christ. Also, I don't have a great picture, but to make a comparison, I'll use this.
It's a bomb.
Does anyone know why Yasha came back with a broken hip bone?
Yeah. Fighting.
Let's go with fighting.
We've also
What's fighting?
busted rib cage, dislocated
Mom
shoulder,
and Dad doesn't want to know what Son has been up to.
both ankles
Oh no, you're.
destroyed.
You imagine someone coming on like, I'm sorry, your son has been hanging out with the wrong people.
They were not delicate. Oh god.
As we said, brave.
Brave.
Today, Yasha.
Well, at least him and Mari. Let's say if that happens, at least Mari's character and Yasha have something in common.
Oh no. Yasha, no, you're too young.
You're
Your
yeah.
Yasha. No, Yasha, you're too young. You're too young to date a Vinton.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
hold on one second.
On the bright side, it's weaponizing a Yasha is like equivalent of throwing a pissed off gerbil with a spear.
Use it no.
Just think about it. The Vinton can fucking fastball a Yasha.
Yeet.
Just yeet.
Yeet.
The Yasha special.
The Yasha special.
boy.
If you had someone adequately large enough, he's not a very big person, so you could fastball him if you were
Okay.
big enough. I'm pretty sure Lamine could even toss him if she wanted to.
Who is the tallest in the party anyway?
Not Yasha.
Lamine.
Man's like, I rolled my stats and the man's like 5'4". He's not tall at all.
Oh.
Oh, I don't have the height. I
Dang.
didn't actually decide on height. Wait.
He is shrimp.
I don't think
Yeah,
she's
sure.
small though. Definitely taller than Yasha.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm sure him like being hunched over all the time doesn't do him any favors either.
It's true. Yeah.
Such is life when you're a jungle child.
Yeah. For whatever reason, I just imagine Morderin like tall, but high elves aren't apparently that tall. Like, tallest would probably be like just under 6 feet. So
In
Could be tall for a high elf.
in normal
true.
D&D,
But I mean, like that's like pretty tall for a high elf. It says that high elves are actually supposedly generally shorter than humans.
in D&D they are
Yeah, so like
in
being
like almost every other setting.
Yeah, the highness is not relative to their height rather than their current state of being, to be honest.
yeah, it's true.
You mean our
High
party?
elves are. They're the reason why he's a high elf because he's pretentious as fuck.
Yeah.
He also smokes copious amounts of weeds to get away from his past.
You know what? You know what? I'm adding that too. Hold on. Let me
This would be like the thing that Yasha like ruins the party over. Just like he's just smoking something. It's like, what the hell are you smoking? I'm smoking this plant from the forest. Here, try some.
Oh, I know that.
And then Morgan's like, I feel so relaxed.
This shit is weak.
Yep. We're just gonna add Flaw addicted to weed now.
Oh,
my
no.
God.
And we're gonna have to administer weed to Scoot.
Administer weed to Scoot.
Oh,
God.
not to Scoot.
Rest in peace, Scoot.
No.
He got his
No,
weed administered. That's for sure.
Not even once.
Within seconds, Scoot has carcinoma. Like,
And then
what?
dies. He dies.
Holy fuck. Yeah, so anyway, if you're listening, weed, not even one.
Mm, fucking Vinny.
Oh,
Hello, Papa.
but as we get further and further off topic,
Mhm.
As you do.
as we do, I suppose we'll have to eat dinner with them.
Yep. We'll have to have
Unfortunately.
dinner with the knights and their giant woman.
The thing that Lumina was talking about though, like if they are here for the same reason, and it's clear that they are, like all right, now we're kind of just like we're hoping you're not, but we kind of sus that you are, so
Sus.
we're gonna be watching, but also kind of
Well, the one thing we do have to work that is
If-
on our side is she's
if-
probably unwilling to get rid of the silver sword too.
That's what I would basically. I don't want to start a fight, or maybe not start. I don't want a fight to happen inside this place.
More
This
than
lady has
listen to
enough
this
issues.
entire spell book. Just jazz
Like this.
hands.
Jazz hands.
This lady has enough issues as is. We don't need to like do that.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it would be uncomfortable.
and-
I don't.
As a preference, I would much rather, even if we had to do it violently, I would much rather take the sword away from these people than her. So like if we had a choice between like fighting them for the sword or like letting them leave and then going after them later, I'd rather go for that option.
Understandable.
Because well,
Also, I know I've
Mostly
kind of talked about. Oh,
mostly
sorry.
because of Levine's personal conscience, like feeling better doing that. Because
Okay. Well, while it's nice to feel better about that, imagine if they knew how to use the sword for some, because they are, considering their order.
I'm not
What
saying
if
that
they
it
know how
should
to
be like
use
our first go. It's like, okay, yeah, you can have the sword.
I should probably
but-
provide a bit of context since, I mean, I think I mentioned it before, but it's nice to just sort of fill you guys in again. But to kind of make a comparison, if you guys are familiar with Guild Wars or Guild Wars 2, the Vinton are kind of like the Norn.
Ah.
In which they're like
extra tall, extra big.
yeah, extra big, like, extra large, beefy people, and they're they kind of adopt from the same kind of cultures and stuff. Although rather than be more of the animalistic sort of sense, they're more akin to like Vikings and Mongolians, because they're very nomadic in that sense of Mongolians, where they kind of rove around, and they're like Vikings because they're also natural raiders. They kind of borrow from both sides.
Okay.
Yeah, they're sort of a bit of that, They have a bit of a they're sort of a mixture of a humanoid, but they have some of their lineage can also be traced back to dwarven lineages as well. I won't go into too much, but kind of a bit of a common knowledge. This is fairly common knowledge for most folk that know about Vinton, but discussing dwarven related things, they're not friendly towards dwarves because they've had a bad history with dwarves as much as they've disliked magic.
That's
Yeah.
a grudge.
Yeah, they dealt with Dawizar. They had their own version of Grimgore Ironhide story, if you want to think of it like that.
Upsetting.
Well,
Nope,
at least
John.
fortunately for Lamine, you have an enchantment wizard.
This is true.
And also, because it's been a new day, I even switched out Thunderwave for other shit.
Cast Thunderwave at the dinner table. Watch everyone just go.
Food fight.
Brrr! Ah!
I think it would also probably, unless, well, barring circumstances, it might be best to let myself and Roland take the lead on conversations.
Only problem is, isn't Roland not allowed? Not invited or not allowed? Just not invited.
I don't mean just at the dinner table. I mean just in general.
Oh, in general, yeah.
With, as far as the nights go. That said, if something is directed at you, you can use your own judgment or defer to me in some fashion. Or if you just look uncomfortable, and I'll take over. Basically.
Unfortunately, Yasha always looks uncomfortable in these situations.
That's fair.
He has to wear things like fancy clothes.
Oh boy.
I'll sort out some fake names for us too in the meantime.
Oh yeah, please. Mordrin already is in shambles at this point. Just thinking about, oh my god, what could possibly get? You know what? I'm not even gonna. It could get worse. A dragon could just show up on our house or something.
Yo, what's up? Scrum! Yo, what's up? How's it going, guys? See, you humans are doing some cool things. Oh, I gotta see some high elves doing oh, that's pretty cool. You actually got a pretty good diverse group going on.
Oh, I love this party, guys.
I still remember. I don't think you joined the Kingmaker group at this point, but at some point I decided to scare the level 2 Pathfinder party by having a red dragon just show up.
Yeah, I wasn't there yet for that.
Oh god.
Yeah, and it freaked out everyone, and the dragon was like, "Hey yo,
How's it going?
Yo, what's
guys
up?
here. Here's 100 gold. Okay, bye. I'm off to raid the nearby village."
Just paid off
It
a
just
dragon.
freaked out.
He's a really smart dragon. He paid off the adventurers.
Oh. Well, alright then.
He's like, here's 100 gold. Here's 100 gold. Don't come to this village.
And it worked. It worked.
What a weird dragon.
Yeah, because
very
actually
smart dragon.
the nearby town technically was the
I can't stop hiccuping.
like basically a town that's under the control of the king that they're working for.
Mm.
And they said, oh, we're gonna go the other way.
Whoop.
Nah.
Nah. No, that's a
Right.
very smart dragon. Giving money to people who could stop you. We call those CEOs today.
But anyways,
The
coming
main
back
things
to
I
the-
remember from that.
coming back to the session because we're getting pretty distracted.
Again.
Yeah, we are.
Again. Coming back to the session, we're what do you call it? You've got some time. There's still about roughly an hour before dinner.
Didn't know.
Dinner.
Morden just contemplates if sleep would work on him. Knows it can't.
You can't sleep yourself.
No, I can't. I'm immune to sleep. The one time I wish I was in the aisle.
She was just looking like, damn.
You have to
I can't put myself
deal
to
with
sleep.
the existence of your time right now.
The only way you can sleep is to actually like lay down and sleep.
Yeah, which you can do.
This is like when Yasha's just like, I have these medicinal herbs.
Mordrin's just like, is it too late now to no, I can't do that. People.
Is it too late to break the masquerade? No,
Yeah.
it is never too late.
It is always ideal.
What shall we do for the last hour?
Lamine hears you talking about the herbs. She's just like, I call mine incense.
Incense. Incense?
Like weed.
That's actually something she has, by the way. Like, not even joking. Poppy! Hi!
Wappy.
Like, she's pouting.
Oh no.
She
Poppy, why are you
knows.
pouting?
She
Why you
knows
pouting?
you're on. She knows you're in campaign.
Doggo will bark.
And
Oh,
but
I'm glad she hasn't been.
is there anything else to be done?
I think I'll probably take a walk around. I'm gonna find some random book. It's a noble house. There's gonna be a book
Yeah.
somewhere.
The study has a library of sorts. Between all the swords and suits of armor that
Yeah.
line the walls, in the study there's a collection of books that the guests are allowed to sort of partake.
Okay, what I want to do is I'm gonna take a book that seems like something I'd read. I'm not gonna actually read it. I'm gonna pretend that I'm reading it, and I
Okay.
want to walk around.
So
Like-
it's gonna be
Like walk around
eavesdropping.
as if I'm just like walking and reading at the same time for two reasons. One, well, actually, I guess the two reasons are like the same or related in a way. I want to see what I want to see if I can see what these knights are doing,
Ah,
and
so you wanna
related to
see
that,
what
I
these
want
knights
them
are
to
up
see
to?
me, so that they know. So like the first time that they see us isn't like
At the dinner table.
at
It
the
won't-
dinner table.
Okay.
'Cause
so you want to just
Lamine
kinda
is
sorta-
assuming that they're already aware that we're
soften the
here.
impact of just like, hey, who
Yeah,
are you guys?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want them to be aware ahead of time, though, that
I mean, they'll be made aware of your
Yeah.
presence, and then no doubt someone will
Yeah.
probably come to find
this
you
is
and
more like a
inform
a
you
visual.
guys.
It's
Yeah.
Lamine wants to ease into it a little bit, basically, like
Okay.
as Luke said, so that so it's not just like, yeah, we know they're here, but we haven't seen them yet. So it's kind of because Lamine has been assuming that. Definitely, the lady has told us that it's like, yeah, there's other people here too.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh god.
it's a dual purpose of
Mhm.
What are you gonna be doing,
making sure that
Yasha?
they're not as like
I don't know.
weirded out by
Just
random
wanders
people.
around.
And also, I do want to see if I can find just kind of
Actually, he'd probably do the thing that Mordrin was doing earlier, in a sense, because he actually hasn't explored the mansion yet, and he's gonna do that. But it might be a little different. It might be different to
Oh, no.
Yasha's looking around, because he's just like, what the fuck is a mansion?
Yeah.
Scurries
So
around
you're gonna
Actually
be
looking
exploring the
around.
mansion.
in awe, be like, what the fuck is this? Why is this house so big?
I
You
do
know
need
what?
to take Poppy out though, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna leave it up to chance. Under 10 will be Yasha, and then over 10 is gonna be Lamine. Lamine, it is. He's following her. Oh. Let's see.
Okay. So you and so you'll be following Lamine then.
Yep, I rolled for it.
Okay.
The dice said follow Lamine, so I was like, all right. He's gonna be very irritated looking and upset.
As you trail along with Lamine.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly to
since-
soften the impact because Mortarin is very aware of how he comes off to people.
Since,
And for them to know how he is, it's probably better for him to, shock them now rather than later.
run into them now.
Yeah. Like, all right, let's get this fucking over with.
What are all these heads?
Yeah. But since
What are these
Lamine is currently not
heads?
around, yeah, you could go ahead and start with yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yasha, go ahead and make me investigation.
Investigation checks.
Yes.
Investigation shaped.
Oh.
Whatever that is. Investigation shapes. Go. Oh, not 20.
That's
Yasha is
20.
taking in everything.
Well, you get a thorough walk of the mansion. You are able to kind of note sort of some of the things that you can and can't access. You do notice that while you're not really able to get into the study at this moment because the study, as you kind of come across, is actually where Lamine and Mortimer are going. But aside from that, you find the kitchen. You find a few interesting rooms. A lot of them are also mostly like empty guest rooms. But
I will also have to warn you. He probably will just wander into the kitchen because he doesn't have that sense of I
Yeah.
shouldn't be in here. So he fucking wanders in there like, hey, what are you doing in here? And he's like, oh.
Some angry cooks come in. They're like, "Hey, get out of the kitchen!"
He's like, well, what the fuck? Why? Get out! Get out! Well, I don't understand.
You're chased
Sure,
out
Hal.
as a chef like swipes at you with a rolling pin.
And he's just like, ah!
Yeah. A man of blonde stature comes and yells at you, calls you an idiot sandwich, and tells you to leave his fucking kitchen.
Where's the lamb sauce?
Where's the lamb sauce?
Oh my god.
Oh god. Yasha is left confused and somewhat scared. This man holds a lot. This man can shout down a Vinton if he really wanted to, and that's saying something.
Says a lot about society, boss.
I don't understand.
Me neither. Don't follow up on that one.
You figure that this blonde-haired chef can probably yell down a Vinton if he wanted to.
Probably.
He's one of the few that can do it. Because God forbid he yells at you.
Yeah. You're probably more used to the Vinton stare than this man's yelling, as you're more intimidated by him at the moment.
Yelling about lamb sauce and the like. But yeah, anything. Just currently perusing the house of its nonsense. Don't know if I run into the others at any point.
You do come across a couple of rooms, and apparently it apparently appears to be sort of a downstairs area that you're sort of locked off from. There's a door that's being guarded by a single sentry who kind of like tells you like, guests go over this way. He sort of like kind of like shoos you away.
What pester him with nonsensical questions such as what's down there?
He's just like, nothing you need to know. Now go back upstairs. Dinner will be soon for you.
Are you gonna get dinner too soon, boss? I'm like, what the fuck kind of questions are these?
He's just like, I'll call for more guards.
All right, I'll go.
Heartily threatens you with a call for more guards.
I'll call for more guards. Will they be joining dinner too then? I don't understand, but okay.
He's like,
I'll
I'll
see
get
you
the
later.
chef up here.
Oh no, I'm out of here.
Yes, chef.
Yeah, yes, chef. That's just. I've been. I'll call the guards. Oh, will they be joining? I'll call the chef. I'm out.
Hmm.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Nat 20.
Welcome back. There's clearly nothing to be down there.
Yeah.
Do I notice any of the other knights while he's just kind of wandering around?
No, you don't happen across any of the other knights. There's only 5 of them.
Yeah, but even so, I guess that kind of tells where they're not exactly staying in a normal area. Or they're staying in a different area. I don't know, this big ass house is kind of weird. But yep.
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 So yeah, you do kind of happen across an access that's guarded to the lower levels. Aside from that, there's nothing too much of note. There are a few interesting things like little armories of sorts.
Armory.
Yeah,
That would
they're for
make
lack
sense
of a better
considering
term,
lineage.
they look like armories. Like there's just little stands with weapons and shields and stuff like in like a little like not so much a room but more like a divot of a room.
Most interesting.
Very interesting indeed.
Guess I'll make a note of these rooms. Make note of things in the investigation. But
Very
yeah,
well then.
good information all around.
Yep. So you do happen to come across if there's anything you'd suspect, it's likely that whatever they're looking for is either maybe in one of these armories that are like most of them are fairly not really guarded or locked, but there's because it's more like a almost like a in case of emergency break glass and get sword kind of station than like don't touch. But most of them
No
are kind of like a display sets. But you don't really happen across anything that fits the profile of the sword you're looking for.
I see. That is unfortunate but understandable. Understandable. Have a good day.
Understandable. But yeah, presumably it's someplace downstairs.
And I guess I don't really see the other knights too much in my wanderings, so keep this in mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Keep in.
Since Lamine is back, Mordrin, Lamine.
Hello.
You make your way towards the study, and as you figure, they're still talking there. They still chit chatting. As you approach the doors, and there's one of the butlers sort of like flags you down, just sort of like tells you to wait, and you can hear the chit chatting from the other side of a rather a man speaking with the lady. You presume it's probably gonna be the hooded figure.
Probably.
Okay.
So, the knights are in the study. He says,
What are they studying?
oh, they're not studying. They're just, getting acquainted. So, you are welcome to wait out the conversation for now, or, you have a moment to yourselves.
I leave that up to Lamine because Border is just a cranky little baby right now.
Cranky.
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 Cronky. He's crunky.
He's
Grunky.
crusty.
He's crusty.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't really want to wait here. So
Maybe you'll speak with the knights later.
I'm not even like specifically trying to speak with them.
Or encounter the knights.
Yeah,
Encounter.
just wander off and come back in like 10 minutes to see if they've finished yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have. If not, then fucking probably wait.
Ugh. Well.
What are they up to? Who knows?
Chit
Oh,
chat.
as you wander and yeah.
We'll say this: you sort of circle around to the other side, and you see an area. You see the other, because the entrance, the way in and out of the study hall has, or the study room has two entrances, and where by the other servant, you see one of the other knights sort of kind of creeping out from the study room, and you kind of run into him in the hallway, Lamine.
Wonderful.
This is not the hooded figure. This is one of the other knights, and as Mordrin had kind of taken notice, he looks pretty worse for wear. He definitely looks like he's been in a bit of a fight. There's some definite wounds on him that he's kind of taken. Burn marks singe parts of his face and his hair. And as you can see on his armor, particularly around his like hands and legs, there's burn markings and like just battle damage. Just it almost looks like the boots and the gloves are like ready to fall apart as he's like moving around. He's kind of a sight for sore eyes, or not a. He's actually a sore sight for eyes. Sorry, wrong analogy, but you know, or wrong use of the analogy.
Damn, even though he's this fucked up, he looked fine.
Yeah.
It's possible if they tangle with those blackguards.
Dark magics.
What's his demeanor like?
He definitely does not look happy. And not in a I'm annoyed with everything, but in a I'm sad. This man looks
I'm
very
sad.
This guy looks fairly morose.
How sad.
Probably on instinct. Well, sort of on instinct. I will just do like a little bow to him as we're about to, or at least once he like enters my field of vision, probably, and he's aware of me. I'll just
You
like
you
a little
kind of
nod
almost
bow.
bump into each other in the hallway.
But then I will actually inquire if his wounds have I was gonna ask if his wounds have been tended to, but they clearly haven't. Yeah.
Nope.
Like,
They-
you need healing?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I will.
And are you
I
okay,
think I'll
Jack?
probably still phrase it like that just to give him an out in case he doesn't deal with people, I guess. Like it's pretty obvious that it's like, yeah, you're not doing okay, but like, has anyone tended to your wounds? Like pointedly looking at, and I'm being genuine with this, by the way. Like I'm
Yeah.
offering to help him
He kind of
because
gives you.
want.
He kind of gives you a Hang on, I'm being messaged. Sorry. He kind of gives you a sort of hesitant look when you ask him, as he kind of understands what you're offering and asking of him, and he sort of like nervously he says, "Pardon me. These are not wounds, but these are marks of retribution. I must be excuse me. I must be going." And so he sort of tries to dismiss you and sort of walks past you.
That's fine. I'll let him go.
And, you know, he doesn't give any much more information than that.
Where is he going?
Look at the door that he came out of.
That is the other study, which the other
Yeah, no,
another
it's
servant
more
is
of like
sort of
a, it's like
No.
a pensive look, I guess. You know what I mean? It's like if I could see through the door, that's what I'd be doing. But I can't.
well, there is a butler attending it, so
Knowing who's, or at least assuming who's on the other side of that door as well.
I
Big
hear you.
trouble.
Okay, I'll continue walking away then. Or well, continue on my way.
okay. So you'll continue on. Mordrin, do you follow along with Lamine or?
We're just like you're not gonna follow him, huh? We're not gonna do anything like that.
I don't think he's being shifty.
Mordrin doubts that, if he's caught snooping, that he can do much about it, even with a decrepit-looking knight. So it's following Lamine.
You don't think he could take an injured
Unfortunately.
man?
No, I don't think Mordrin could take an injured man.
Morgan can barely take himself right now.
This is true.
Let's forgive me. I am overcome with pity, and I do not wish to disturb him.
Oh my god, why are you like this?
Cleric paladins.
Not even
Yeah.
close, just a good
Well,
person.
yeah. Mordrin would just be like, that's a rhetorical question.
Though you're not wrong. If her being a good person is why she's a cleric paladin.
I don't know many cleric paladins are not good people. It's possible,
I don't
but
like that he
usually,
said those wounds of retribution.
I don't know. In this group, I've seen plenty of paladins. Most of the paladins I've seen in this group have not exactly been the kindest.
Well,
That's
they've
true.
also been mostly
Mostly Peters, yeah. I've
I'm
never
aware.
been to paladin before.
Wait,
Most
which
of the
paladin?
paladins have,
We're just
Most-
talking shit about you without you even paying attention. Don't worry about it.
I'm just like, hold on. What's this about my paladins?
they're all dicks.
We're talking about how there's a lot of paladins.
Are you talking about
In
my
this
player
group,
character paladins or this campaign? Because let me tell you, I haven't really come across any paladins yet.
No, the player characters. We were talking about how in this player group there's quite a few paladins, and not very many of them are actually very friendly.
Well, the paladin campaign, I had Leovar,
Yeah, but the other paladins, the other
Yeah.
like
Scar, Casimir. Who's the other one?
God.
I don't know. I feel like there's one more though.
Is there?
Perhaps. No, I think there may have been a fighter instead, but
Pretty sure we're thinking of my fighter, who was also a dick, but you know.
yeah, but also a dick. Yeah.
He was a
But the
dick,
point-
but the point
The
stands.
point still stands.
Turns out Peter has a type.
They can be good people. They're just not very kind.
They're just not very nice. Casimir was not a nice person.
I
No,
I mean, he
Casimir
was-
was not a nice person.
He was.
No,
he was
not.
He was not a happy person. That's a more accurate statement. Scar
And
was
then he had a
definitely.
dragon wife.
Then it's okay. He got a dragon wife, and he found to forgive
And he
himself
found
and his
Peter
dragon
Keith.
wife.
It's pretty easy to forgive yourself if you have a pretty nice dragon wife. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
You know what? Fair point.
And then he became a redemption paladin.
Oh no, he's still vengeancing. Now he's just going on vengeance treks with his wife.
It's a different kind of vengeancing.
Yeah, he's
Oh
doing
my God.
vengeancing with his wife
Yeah.
and
Now it's-
starting
now-
starting a new dragon family. Casimir
Dragon
was a
Ball.
family man before he became a vengeance family.
Wasn't
Now he can
Scar
go
a
back to-
paladin?
Hmm?
Like, wasn't Scar an Oathbreaker?
Scar is an Oathbreaker.
Yeah, that's about like.
That's the worst paladin in that in that kind of sense.
That is an anti-paladin.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
that's just an anti-paladin for players that wanted to play anti-paladin or blackguard to be more specific.
Well, now that paladins aren't necessarily tied to alignment, it's a little easier, but there's no like definitive closest
Yeah.
to it.
I was
yeah.
expecting that kind of thing, though. Because that campaign was specifically like, hey, you guys want to play a villain?
Yeah.
'Cause you can play a
Yeah.
villain. Like, it's
So,
like, this is
I
this
kind
is
of
to be a villain.
you kind of can't nail me for running a dickhead paladin in a villain campaign.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. Fuck that.
Yeah, we can.
We just,
How dare you
shit.
fulfill this role? How dare you fulfill this role beautifully, you fuck? You're acting
Yeah,
too good.
yeah, Levine. Murderin is definitely judging you.
that's fine.
He's just like, but why are you like, don't answer that but because of the rhetorical question, but God, why are you like this?
Well, it all started when I was 12. Just, oh fuck, I started it.
Yeah.
As Lamine wistfully looks out the window and begins her flashback.
Oh no.
Me doesn't want her flashbacks. She's not going to tell anyone about them anytime soon.
You know,
Well, if
point chicken. We can.
It's one of those TV shows. You'd have to do it while looking out the window. Whatever the case is, you'd have to do it wistfully and against Morderon's will.
Yeah.
Why are you
He
monologuing?
might even play the God card and be like, okay, which God told you to be like this?
Oh no! Now you're really asking for it.
God.
You might as well be like, tell me your backstory in plain.
Or is with the type, like, the moment someone starts talking about their backstory, I can see Mordor just, like, stepping in, like,
No.
like, stop.
Nope,
No.
stop.
We don't need this.
Like that
Especially
father
the
in,
kid background. It's just like, nope. Nope, fuck you.
that one father in Mining Path and the Holy Grail. When his
No,
son starts
stop,
singing,
stop.
It's just like, stop. No. There'll be no singing.
Yep.
Absolutely no singing.
So yeah,
God,
I can actually see Mordor doing that because he's enough of a pretentious asshole that hates religion.
I know, it's great.
To
that
be
we
like,
always
what God told you to be like this?
What's a No, I can't say that. I was gonna say, what's a religion? It's like, no, I can't say that. Everyone knows. Even those who live in the forest would know what that is.
This is true.
you would still have your own kind of faith.
Yeah.
It's
Who
fake.
do you mean, Jeebus?
It'd be more like, what religion is that? Only religion I know is the forest.
But yeah, do you answer him?
Oh, you're actually asking that?
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
Like,
Oh.
which God told you to be this way?
no, God asked me to be this way.
But-
I chose it.
He doesn't seem convinced, but he's just like, all right.
I'll have to take that answer.
Yeah, because I don't want your backstory.
Me doesn't want to talk about it either. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Deadpan
That's weird.
staring into the camera. Tell me about your backstory.
This. I don't know where to go. Probably just go back to the garden then. Fuck it. Is there? I don't. Maybe the kitchen has a snack. I don't know.
Oh no! Don't go to the
No,
kitchen.
not the kitchen. Don't go to the kitchen.
No, I wasn't here. I
Don't
wasn't
go
here
to
for whatever
the kitchen.
conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
Don't
look
worry
like you're going
about
to the kitchen.
Don't
look
go
like
to
you're
the
going
kitchen.
You look like you're going to the kitchen. Yasha just tugs on Lamine's like the hem of her shirt. Just look
Where did
with
you
those
come from?
pleading, like those pleading eyes. Like no, don't go
No,
there.
don't go there.
Is concerned, but
No, not the kitchen. There's a scary man in there.
I'm concerned about how concerned you appear. You fought zombies and you didn't look this frightened.
That man can. The man in that kitchen, he can kill a zombie by shouting at it.
Oh my god.
I am sure of.
All right, back to the garden. For like 10 minutes.
I guess it's time for Yash to investigate. Spend the rest of the time investigating the garden if there's any.
Hey, we're all back
Yay!
together.
We're all back together. Yasha, save me.
What am I saving you from?
Myself.
Religion and everything. Oh, okay.
He's concerned, but he wishes you the best of luck.
Morton, you need someone to talk to. I feel like you really need.
No,
This is like a job for a
he doesn't. He's probably like, no, no, I don't.
God.
You can't heal until you broke.
Like, no, you don't understand. God. Yeah, no, it's just like, yeah. He's like, why am I spending time with a religious person when I know I don't? I hate gods, apparently.
Spiteful
Guys,
gods.
why are you like this?
It's great.
Maybe Mordorin needs a friend.
I mean,
Oh God.
I will make Mordorin a friend. Gives him a wood doll.
Fucking looks at it, just why?
You can tell.
I swear to God.
So,
collapse ground. Why?
given the time you've spent deliberating on what you plan to do, the conversation in the study had ended, and the rest of the knights come pouring out of the room and into the hallway, where you
Oh
meet
no,
them.
they're like liquid now.
They just come bowling out of the room, flopping around like fish out of water.
I was thinking like they go
No.
charging down the hallway and they take one of our party members like no.
No, they all collectively sort of exit out of the room, and so you come across the other 4 knights since the 5th one walked off.
How do they look? Same kind of like.
So the other 2, so 2 of the knights are in roughly the same sort of shape as that 3rd one. And then there's the Vinton and the hooded one. The hooded knight now has their cloak drawn back, and you can see the face of a rather gaunt-faced man with a rather serious look in his eye. He gives you a rather intense stare. It's the Vinton looking at you almost feels more welcoming to be stared at. It's
honestly probably even more welcoming for me to look at.
Yeah. The Vinton woman still has her face concealed, but you could see a pair of cold blue eyes just sort of peering at you through the helmet.
I just nod to the group.
The man sort of eyes you guys up, and you could see on his little crest, you could see much like how Mercedeer had like half of his crest was a lion, the other half was like a tree. His was half of his crest was is that of the symbol of the lady, and the other half is is of a bell. And yeah, he stares at you intensely. One of his eyes has a milk film over it, or almost look like it's sort of like he's starting to struggle to see. However, he still feels like that eye is staring at you intensely as he's looking at you guys. He goes and he introduces himself. He says, so you're the lot that's also arrived, as the lady has told us. What business brings rabble like your kind all the way out here?
Mercenary work.
Mercenary work. I see. The last time anyone was out here for mercenary work turned out to be a band of brigands looking to score some easy money from the local village. You know what happened with those lot, do you? I suppose that's not really conversation worth bringing up with you folks. In any case, I suppose we'll be sharing the table with you then, mercenaries.
That you shall.
Very well, I am Sir Alaric, and he gives you a half-hearted like greeting. Like, this man does not give you the fucking courtesy.
He just does not care.
He barely gives you the courtesy of a bow, but he almost, it seems more like out of habit that he moves rather than, like, actually gives any effort.
Von Milesh. This is one of my lieutenants, Domor. Gesturing to Mordorin. Because Josh is not actually here, right? It's
No,
just-
he's not actually there.
Yeah, it's Mordorin and myself.
He,
Yeah.
he's doing things around the mansion.
I introduce myself as Von Milesh, and I introduce Mordorin as Domor. Actually, I will.
Alright.
I'll actually
Just-
put in the realm chat what your guys' fake names are,
Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, just
so you don't have to remember.
nod.
Alaric almost cuts in as you introduce yourselves, and he kind of gives you a humph, and almost kind of sort of like almost telling you that he doesn't really give a shit.
As expected.
As
Yeah,
expected.
But yeah.
For priority's sake. Not that this guy cares much about what's proper.
Very well. See to it that your men don't scuff the floors here, and stay out of my way then. And then
Wouldn't
with
dream
that,
of it.
he turns away and walks towards his quarters, or he walks past you, following after where the first knight had gone. The other two knights that are also in the same similar armor sort of follow after with their heads kind of like tilted downward, almost kind of averting their eyes from you as they follow after him. The Vinton then follows suit. However, she sort of lags behind a bit. Her eyes are rather fixated on you, Mordorin, but then she kind of breaks her attention and follows after when Alaric sort of beckons and says, "Come along."
Once they're well out of earshot, I just glance to Mordorin like, what a dick.
Well,
Mordor.
what a dick.
What a
Just kind of
dick.
shrug.
People like him are so exhausting.
Thank goodness you're the diplomat. Says the diplomat son, but you don't know that.
Can you believe this guy?
What a... Holy shit. You see this guy?
Wow, what an asshole!
For real, though. Well then I'll enter the study then, or
Very well.
knock and then enter. Is there's a little butler?
Yeah, the butler kind of is just like, you're welcome in, and sort
Yeah.
of gives you an impromptu greet for the lady who's still there.
Yeah, probably just do like just wave at her in some fashion. Just like, I'm not here for anything specific. I'm just looking for something to read. Basically, like, don't mind me. Perusing something to pass the time.
She appears as a very excited person. She's like, oh, hey, welcome. Is there anything that you needed? She's like, I presume that you've met with the good knights then. Ah, yes, they've come on a similar journey. They've their own business to attend. I hope it's not too much trouble that more guests arrive with more stories.
I think the only person that'd be troubling would be yourself. So if you're fine with it, then we're fine with it.
Oh, no. The knights
It
are
is
such
your
good
house
folk.
after all.
She's
Uh-huh.
just like, the knights are such good folk. Often very, very kind and very helpful around these parts.
Uh,
Bite my tongue and not say anything.
Just bite the tongue.
Mortar knows better than to even look at her.
Away,
Like,
away.
what you
He's
say?
just like, in any case, feel free, help yourself to the study. I'm sorry if you had to wait on my account. Dinner should hopefully be ready within the hour.
Thank you. And then I'll just peruse the book and find one that strikes my fancy.
Man, what kind of books are there? Mortar might, before he pops the blood vessel, might have to read.
There's a number of interesting topics. Manual of arms, like fighting styles. There's stories of old fiction novel stories of like treasure hunts and, romantic novels of warriors and warrior poets, things like that. Things very typical of an adventurer lover.
I'm gonna grab one of those warrior poet ones then. That sounds fun.
We're loving on them adventurous stories.
Yep.
Yeah?
I'm not really feeling romance, so I'll go with one of the adventure stories.
Yeah, you find a
any
book on the oh god, what was the name of that series? The Pounded in the Ass.
My lover is a T-Rex.
My
something
lover
like
is
that.
a T-Rex, yeah.
Books exist. Don't remind me.
I'm going to
God.
remind you.
No, don't remind me.
Because I
Oh my
remember when you shared all those covers. long ago.
You burn them into my mind.
Oh
So
my
I never
sweet
read them. I was
Jesus.
tempted to buy them though, just to see if they were actually real.
I'm so sorry to do this, but
Mhm.
this is the first book that you put. This is the book that you pull off the fucking wall.
Let's see
Let
it.
me see.
Drop it in the
Where do I
realm.
put it?
In the realm, I
Oh,
guess.
realm. Oh God, this is the book you pull out.
Oh my god.
Holy shit, man.
I typed in T-Rex is my lover, and this is what I got.
What is Hugo nominated?
A real fucking humdinger of a title, like sweet Jesus.
My god.
The Hugo Award is an annual literary award for best science fiction or fantasy work.
What?
Man, with the,
And its achievement of the previous year given at the World
There you
Science Fiction Convention.
Put that on the stream real quick. There we go. Lovely.
Please.
No!
oh my sweet Jesus. The first
Give it a
fucking
second to
review
come
is just this. The first fucking review for this book is this is the Citizen Kane of human and T-Rex political scandal.
No!
What
Oh my god.
What a gem.
the
I'm so sorry if anybody's watching the stream and saw that book title. I'm so sorry.
I mean, they're
They
seeing
might
it
be
right
enlightened.
now.
They're enlightened.
If anyone,
No,
I mean,
they're not. We just took hours of their life away.
oh,
And we
Yeah.
haven't even talked about it for hours. We just took the hours.
I mean, I'm pretty sure just seeing that.
Shaved hours off your lifespan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyways.
they are now further from enlightenment by.
What else kind of books are there, Peter? Because I don't want that book.
It's okay. Every day we get closer to just being a group of anti-paladins.
Oh my god.
Not actually evil. We just strayed too far from the light.
each day you stray further and further from your vows.
You know what? Would there be anything pertaining to something I'm interested in, Peter, aka things that you know about? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yes, actually.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I'm sorry, I've asked.
You asked, as though there. You have it.
Oh
Ask and you
no.
shall receive.
You find a story of gods and battles.
Oh god.
Yeah, and it's some of the folklore favorites. And
Strange.
Yeah.
One of the gods is Jihao. whoever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
A screaming fox
Like-
god, huh?
No.
No, it's more like it's a different thing, but yeah.
Oh, for some reason I was just thinking of your screaming fox sorcerer.
That's Jiro.
That's
He's
fair.
out there screaming still.
He's
He
Don't,
is.
he's
don't,
the
don't, don't
godhood.
worry about
You're right.
Some say that he screams to this day.
it.
At
But yeah.
least it's not at least it's not that one dickhead who became a warlock.
Which one?
the one that actually ascended godhood.
Well, he's a dragon now, so.
Yeah, he is a dragon.
Yeah. But yeah, Mortar will pick up the book and start reading. Regardless if Lamine is confused as to why he is. Or if she even notices.
Mm.
Just like, wait.
Well, moving on.
Basically.
we
Anyways.
had enough lifespan shaved off with one book. We don't need another.
Yeah. We don't need any more, do we?
I mean, I don't think
No,
no.
no.
Maybe after stream.
Maybe
By the way,
after
there's-
stream.
Most of these books are free on Amazon with Amazon Prime. Don't ask me how I know that.
I'm so glad to know.
It's good information.
So, see, I think I know what I'm gonna order and send to you guys in Hawaii.
No.
Because I have Amazon Prime.
I hope that
There
this
you
opens.
go.
I hope not. If I open that and I see that, I'm going to give it to my dog and say, "Look, it's a new chew toy."
And then your dog's gonna look at it and go, "Please, I have standards."
I'm gonna start ripping up the pages and using them as newspaper for my dogs.
They're not gonna pee on it. Trust me. They're just gonna leave it alone.
Oh, good. That means I can put it on the floor of the house. I don't want them to pee on then.
Mm.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have to be around it.
Small price to pay.
Small price to pay for salvation.
But
Could
yeah,
always
anyways,
replace
yeah.
the floor with it.
Oh God, yeah, but then you'd have to have a floor of it. That's the problem.
There's just no
Like you can
winning,
do all
is
these
there?
things. Yeah, you can do all these things, but at the end of the day, you have to deal with it.
And damn it, I'm reading that fucking book.
Alright, well, there's not too
Yes,
much
I'm
time.
reading the book.
So you'll acquire some reading material. You presume that the knights went off to their own quarters to get themselves settled up. Is there anything that you guys want to do? Because there's only a little bit of time left before dinner does come.
Read.
So just gonna have reading, little read session.
A
All right,
little read session.
let's segue to the dinner.
Oh boy.
All right, lieutenants.
So the hour comes, a servant calls to you and says, to your lieutenants are welcome to the banquet. Your troops will be well fed within the guests' dining room in the barracks. However, you're welcome with the lady at the main hall. So you are basically it's you guys, sans Roland.
We go eat.
Very well. You arrive at the dining table. You have your sides of the table, and of course the knights and the knights have their sides. Alric and the Vinton
All of them are
woman,
there?
they are all there. However, it is only Alric and the Vinton who are at the table. The other three knights are off to the side, standing and waiting.
Okay.
Yep. They are attending dinner, but they are not eating.
Oh, I remembered. I'll at some point before this, like when we meet back up, maybe during the reading session. I don't know. That's at some point in the interim. I do want to mention my suspicion that and what is with people being
Hmm.
wizard types in red being dicks? Fucking red wizards. Fuck those guys.
Fuck
It's
those
anonymous.
guys. Remember? Oh my
If you're a
god,
wizard
not
in
the
red,
red
he's gonna
wizard.
be a dick.
I mean,
I guess
Syph
we
is
gotta
wears
all
red.
ascend godhood now. And
Sorry.
then we gotta go kill those bastards.
Wasn't that the first thing we did?
That
Yeah.
was the first thing you did.
What's the first thing you guys did? You just murdered
Wiped out,
all of the red wizards.
wiped out
With-
the red wizards. Well, I should probably
alright.
mention. Interesting of you to mention this because Caiaphas wears red and he's been pretty friendly.
Well, I mean, we all know him that he's a dick. He's a friendly one, but he's a dick.
Fair enough.
You can be a dick and still be a good person or a good friend.
Looks at Mordorin.
I think you know one such person in real life, my friend.
I guess I have to wear red now.
He has a ducky kingdom.
But
Uh,
I don't associate
And they-
G-Man with wearing red. Homeboy doesn't have much red clothing.
He does have a red shirt that he wears on occasion.
Yeah, it's more burgundy.
Yeah, if it shits, it fits.
Yeah.
uh,
Dinner time.
wanted to-
Yay.
Dinner time.
I wanted to bring up my suspicion that this isn't really it's not really meant to go anywhere. It's just sort of taking note of how at least that first night was acting and how he phrased his wounds. That this guy, this Bastion dude might be basically abusing his subordinates in some fashion.
That sounds like, I mean, given the description Yasha and, well, everybody heard of them, that
Dickwad, skill with
I
fire magic. This dude referred them as basically some kind of punishment. And he had burns.
Mm-hmm.
His injuries were burns.
Mhm.
So I don't know what I mean, who knows what he did? Probably. That's sort of irrelevant, but I did want to bring that up. Just
Are you gonna talk to Alric of it or?
no, I want just our group.
Oh, you were gonna mention about this to the
Mordrin,
that the other three
Mordrin,
knights
Yasha,
are
and
sort
Roland.
of being a bit abused, I guess.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
before
that's-
we even came to dinner, I would have wanted to mention it to Yasha, Mordrin, and Roland that these knights are worse for wear, and it's not because they got into a fight. Most like it's probably because of that dude.
Maybe we can poach them.
They're not too afraid of
I
him.
don't think so. I don't think there's anything we can offer that be like, yo, join us instead of, being with the red lady people. That, we can protect you from them.
Like maybe if we straight up murdered him, they'd be like, okay, I guess we're
Alright.
actually safe now. But not even certain then, because
Well,
they're still knights, so
it's true.
we cannot exactly rely on them. Rely on the weakness of their duty, or what they perceive to be their duty anyway. So
It is a shame.
nothing that we can do about it right now, though, without causing problem.
Yeah, you have a job here to do.
Perhaps another time.
If we work here for that, maybe, but this dude is going to be problems enough as it is. And as mentioned,
Don't remind Mordorin.
I don't want to
Don't remind him.
Hmm.
We'll
So,
see if his dinner manners are any better.
so
Doubtful.
Sir Alric and the
What are
Vinton-
dinner manners?
Oh no, that's right.
Ah.
You're not table trained.
Just make sure to use the fork.
No fingers?
No fingers, please.
He looks sad, but he will try.
So,
We're not.
As
You're
you,
not pretending to be a noble, so don't worry about it too much. But like,
No, he understands the gravity situation. It's just, oh, this isn't fun. I don't know how to use this thing.
just stab it. Use a knife if you want to. I don't know. I don't know what we're eating.
well,
But
the
soup.
you guys are
Stab
getting
the soup
soup.
with a
No, you guys
Soup.
get a feast of a boar. Actually, it's a
Oh, fuck.
boar's feast. And so
Damn.
at
Right.
the table, there's a big old pig that's been nice and cooked, and
Nice.
various other vegetables are complemented with the meat.
Hooray!
The the lady Yvonne, she sits at the head of the table and sort of is just like, yes, this is just like, she's like kind of almost reflecting back on like an older nostalgic time, and she's like, this is just like the old days when we used to get so many warriors coming up and down these ways. The fights were always so interesting. I never went to any, but I know that warriors would always come through here, and they'd always speak of my husband and our son's wares, and they would always happy to pay top quality for our goods, or top price for our quality goods, and they would be on their merry way, or some would return back and they'd give us thanks for having that weapon that struck true, or that breastplate that held on from a nasty blade or blow. It just brings me back. And so she kind of has a melancholy feel to it, but she's happy. She's optimistic about this. It kind of brings her back. She's very pleased. And she helps herself to a nice portion of the meat. Alric is politely eating at the table. The Vinted woman, who for the first time finally pulls her helmet, sets it on the table, rather rudely, and then literally reaches over on the pig and pulls one of its legs off and just starts eating it.
Fucking Yasha's just like, oh fuck, you can do that?
Pulls it, snaps it off like a twig, and just munches on it.
Well, I suppose I should be less concerned about you using your fingers.
Remember, Yasha, table manners. Looks at this Vinton, reaches over, grabs a leg, and starts chewing on it.
And Yasha's face doesn't say anything, just see it's on his face, just, you can do that?
I'll just wave to Yasha.
Like,
Alric
no.
kind of pauses, and he's just like, forgive my companion. She's, shall we say, not versed in noble behavior.
Yeah, fucking Yasha's mumbling like, yeah, me too.
And,
At least she's enthusiastic about the food.
yeah. Yvonne almost takes that with like a laugh, like she's like, "Oh no, this is honestly more like back in the day. Please don't be formal at all." He's like, I don't expect nobility from any of you. I want heroes, not nobles, at my table. If I wanted that, I'd go back to Valvadiri.
Well, have free reign then, Yasha.
He's hesitant. He'll still break table manners, but he's really hesitant. Like, oh.
Nope.
At the very least, he does roll up his sleeves. he like goes for it, and then he stops, and he's just like, oh wait. And then he just like pulls his sleeves up a little.
Alric is
just
also
kinda like-
pretty hesitant at the notion of eating like a pig. He's just like, I think I'm fine with the way I'm eating, and just kind of does
Yeah.
his thing.
Yeah, Mordred just looks at how daintily he's eating, just continues to do so.
We'll note that that this man acts and really carries himself in a rather professional manner, and the way he goes about his like motions with his fork and knife is very, very methodical and like almost like too like
It's a mechanical.
not mechanical,
nature.
but almost too cautious and like not cautious, but like too like every cut is like, you know, with purpose.
Precise.
Yeah, precise.
It's very, very exacting.
Like
Yeah.
he knows when he cuts, he knows what he's cutting and how he should be cutting.
I'm not gonna be,
Yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna be that specific about how we eat.
No.
Lamine will
Me
still
neither.
eat like a noble one.
Yeah. Mordred's probably on par with Lamine, except he's He had much less food than anyone else on the table.
All right,
Like
let's.
much less.
It's not gonna,
Especially, yeah, he will have boar, but not too much boar.
even if it's been a while. Not
So,
exactly.
as you as
No
as
plan is a hard to break
you
out
and
of.
the knights are dining, eventually the noble lady does bring up that she wishes to hear stories, and she decides to ask first Alric of what he's doing and
Oh,
what's brought him
wonderful.
here. So the guy's lucked out. It was a toss up, and Alric.
Is a roll of the
So
die.
she turns to
It's like,
Alric
oh
and she
boy,
asks,
okay,
"So,
what things have you killed?
Sir Alric, noble knights of the Red Lady, please tell me what brings your business here." It's like it's not often I see the knights nowadays come this way, since most of them go further north towards the Badlands or south towards Valvadiri. And Alric is pretty blunt on or not blunt, but pretty curt on how he speaks, and he says, "Trolls." He kind of remarks. He says, "My companion here and I have been on the hunt for trolls. You see, there's the iron wall of of Valvadiri's finest warriors sometimes has small gaps, and I have been tasked with ensuring that whatever slips by is taken care of. And we've tracked some trolls that have been wandering over in these parts. It's strange, there's several of them, but what brought them this far south into the lands is quite vexing, I'm sure." And the Vinton, who continues to eat, sort of like is giving sort of glances, like sort of saying, sort of like to almost like agree with Alric, but she doesn't say anything. she's not said a word since you guys since she got here.
Nom, nom, nom.
She
Yep.
doesn't. She eats quietly, actually.
Ah,
She
but
eats pretty
still
quietly,
eats.
but she still eats. But Alric is mostly doing the talking. But he
Yep.
makes mentions like, yeah, trolls have not been this far south before, and we believe we believe something is driving them here. So they're somewhere around here in these mountains for sure. But there's nothing more, no more trouble than my lot can handle. And so that's kind of all he says. So if there's any questions you want to ask,
Trolls.
now's the perfect time.
Trolls. Hold up.
Trolls. And Yasha, you do know that as Roland has mentioned, that the trolls from the Badlands tend to be a lot more vicious and meaner than most of the trolls that
Yeah.
that you find in nature.
But intelligent enough to organize, huh?
Yeah, there's
Or
a
at least
few of
appear
them.
to.
There's a group of them. They seem pretty mobile.
It would almost seem like it's hard because it's like I don't exactly know what Yasha knows, but I feel like he might ask a pointed a poignant question about trolls, like on their behavior or how they're acting or something. Just like out of curiosity, like how are these trolls behaving, kind of thing. Certainly not. It's not certainly not the simple troll.
Yeah. So you ask Alric this?
Yeah, something along those lines. I don't know if I'm personally conveying it well enough, but it's like what strange troll business.
Alric kind of shoots you a glance, and he kind of like pauses for a moment, and he says, "That's something we've been wanting to find out ourselves. The trolls of the Badlands are not to be trifled with," as he kind of reaffirms from what you've learned from Roland.
Yeah.
However, they're all the same. So we know something certain is that something or someone is perhaps driving them here. That is what we suspect, at least. We've been we've been diligent about investigating and seeing if anyone has caught sight or left anything, but we've found nothing short of destroyed markings and trails left behind by their warpath. We surmise there's at least 3 of them, though.
3 trolls.
Ah.
3 trolls.
Yep, 3 total trolls.
How's the Vinton, or what's the Vinton woman doing while you talk about this, by the way?
Fucking chowing.
She's chowing.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
She is
Or
not
for the-
really contributing much. She is shooting glances at Mordrin every now and again.
Is it possible to? Oh, Mordrin has an admirer.
Oh no.
I don't know about admirer.
I don't.
Definitely.
Mordrin is gonna do his best to pretend he does not see her glances.
I'm gonna pretend I'm not a mage.
I'm gonna pretend I'm not. Well, no, not pretend I'm a mage. I'm just like I'm gonna pretend I don't see her glances.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to miss you as a mage.
Well, unfortunately, I think Badland trolls are kind of out of my character's knowledge, so I'll just have to accept what Alric is saying. It's like, yeah. Wish him best of luck and all that. And wish him the best of luck in that naive Yasha fashion, I suppose, is the best you can do. Because I don't think he would know much about Badlands trolls.
Badlands. It's
These are a different breed.
Yeah, it is typical of knowing things that come out of the Badlands tend to be a lot nastier than most things from around other parts of the realm. It's fairly common knowledge. Like the Badlands is kind of like the hell spot, if you want to think of it like that. If you don't want, yeah, which is part of why the Bastion takes these steps to maintaining a defensive force around the Badlands. But as both Roland and Alric have mentioned, you know, not everything can be kept out or kept in. And every now and again, something on the occasion slips by.
The big trouble with trolls.
Big trouble with trolls.
Capital T.
Alric does return the response, however, and asks, I don't suppose you and your men are out troll hunting as well. I wouldn't recommend your... I don't think your men are fit to handle these beasts.
No, perhaps not.
This goes to the whole party, by the way, that he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mordrin doesn't answer. Just a side glance at Levine. You the voice. Good luck.
I'm gonna agree with Yasha. Not really.
Yeah. But know enough about them to avoid them.
If we had more people, maybe, but we haven't had that many in a while.
Low on recruitment, I see. And then the lady kind of cuts in and she's like, "Oh yes, yes. You mentioned earlier of you guys talked to her about the dwarf, yeah?"
Yeah.
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 So she's like, "You mentioned earlier of the dwarf fellow, yes? Tell me. I wish to know more of your company."
An interesting fellow for sure.
All
Honestly,
right.
despite his, well, I think even madness would be putting it kindly. He had a strange sort of charisma about him that was really what drew people to him, despite how crazy he was. So managed to keep people in, which is actually why we don't have as many people with us anymore.
Ah, this man was a bold, brave one. Perhaps a little too brave. I see.
He didn't die,
Yes.
as far as we know. He just decided to go about his own business again.
So you've not learned of his fate then? What happened to him? What happened to your
He
men?
went east. He wanted to go further east than we were willing to go, mostly. We're in between jobs at the moment. We dealt a lot with incursions near the borders, near the borders between the Eastern Badlands and Brosnov. Most of our recent jobs have been around Brosnov, which sadly have not been terribly interesting. Just people conflicts. Everything with our White Dwarf is when we really got the interesting jobs. We're not even always paid for them. He just, on his own whim, would decide to go fight something. But it was entertaining. When he decided to go off on his own, that's when we lost most of the rest of the company. As mentioned, he was the main linchpin keeping everything together.
Somehow.
Once he was
Somehow, quote unquote.
somehow
It's the drugs.
it's
the
drugs.
The drug dealer left. Everyone
Meh.
came with him.
Perhaps some of them went off to find him as well. There were some in that group that were nearly as crazy as he was.
Is that your story?
To start, anyway. If
Roll
more than
with-
one to talk about the story, then there's that.
Roll me a would be deception, since it's not a real story.
It's definitely deception. Unless we know a
But
crazy
you have
dwarf.
advantage.
I am the crazy dwarf. Fucking
I
pulls
am
out a
the
rocket
white
launcher.
dwarf.
Rips out a rocket launcher.
This is where do you go, please?
Here's one of my boys in the fucking airfields whipped up. Got me a magma cannon.
Oh, God.
Magic.
So 13 is your highest.
Yep.
Alric has Alric and the Vinton don't really have any comment to mention on this, but the lady is just like, oh, how interesting. So it seems that your adventures weren't really too much to speak of until you had happened across this dwarf fellow. Then, is that's why you've named after your company after him, then, right?
Mm,
More or
Yeah.
less. He named it himself and just decided to keep the name.
That's rather bold of him. So either Mordrin or Yasha, now it is your turn to add to the story as the lady asks of, is there any interesting battles that perhaps you'd like to regale us with?
Mordrin will go first, and he kind of like scoffs, just like kind of like almost like glares at Lamis and just be like,
Just coughs.
Yeah.
We go stairs. I see.
yeah, and just goes, yes, interesting jobs. Do you remember the time when he thought that those trolls were quote unquote trolls?
Yeah.
Trolls as trolls.
Josh is not even really paying attention at this point. He's fucking chowing down, just like, yeah, food.
An instance of his madness. More humorous than anything else.
I wish to hear more of this.
Mordrin just kind of like sighs and just starts to, in his own blunt way, just being like, he told us that there was going to be trolls that we had to fight, and we prepared everything. And he starts going down the list, because he's a very like methodical sort of guy in general. We prepared all the stuff for trolls and things like that, and we got there and they were just bandits. We killed them, but they were just bandits. Human bandits.
They were bandits who had not showered or done anything in a long time.
Filthy bandits, like filth beyond filthy.
Beyond filth.
More or less.
Plague bandits. They were plague bandits.
Oh, that
They're
was the main
plague
reason I
bandits.
listed them.
Yeah.
They were bandits from the Plague Father.
Pretty sure our fearless leader was also drunk and possibly drugged at the time. So who even
My God.
Of his own volition.
knows? Of his own volition.
He was not drugged. He drugged himself.
All right,
There are
Morgan,
times where,
is that your story?
Yeah.
there are times I'm
That's the-
surprised he was even conscious, much less coherent.
So with that, I'm going to give you the same check with advantage as well.
Dumbass.
Yeah. What is my reception?
I
It-
will get it back.
Oh, terrible. Oh, 19.
A 19.
Nice.
Yeah. It plays into him just being like, oh my god, I hit that.
God,
So
man, that dwarf
Alric
is seriously
kind of
dumb sometimes.
Alric kind of pipes up and he's just like, what sort of a man were you following? My gods, who is this? Who is this terrible person?
Well, that you can see why we're not following that.
Yeah. So Lady Yvonne
He got
sort
too
of
crazy for us.
Lady Yvonne then kind of turns like, well then what happened? What made you part ways then? So it seems that he didn't fall in battle, but it looks like you're no longer associated with him. What makes you keep his name though, if you're no longer with him?
He was great in his own way. Just
Oh,
Oh, wow.
this one's gonna go to Yasha.
okay.
Yeah.
While he's near that, I'm gonna be though.
Yeah. You see, perhaps his lunacy was too much. However, that does not mean, he is not a great dwarf. And it's like, what is it? He would equate it to. He's like, he would equate it to something like bizarre, like what? Not a dog. He'd be like, it is like a mad boar. However, the boar itself is not exactly the problem. He was just mad. But we find the qualities of that dwarf really, really nice.
I see.
Yeah, in his rough Yasha way.
I will
And then
say
he's
this,
just like, sorry, talking is hard.
I will say this: you do have your conferred bonus from swapping stories, and with that, I will mention that you sort of kind of bring up this sort of like kind of in the similar atmosphere of this man was very he kind of reflect off of the camaraderie of some of the other mercenaries. You sort of bring up like he was sort of like a leader of men in a sorts. As for every bit of Madden he convinced you guys to these battles, and you sort of add to that. So with that, I will say you will get your roll with advantage as well.
Deception, right?
Deception.
Yep.
Yep.
Deception.
A 19.
Excellent.
Hooray! Imagine if a deception was actually a 31. What
Cool.
a huge. See?
It was this is not Yasha at all. It's a different entire. The deception's so high, it was actually a different character the whole time.
My God.
Just as I swap out character sheets,
But
it's actually the screaming fox. Ah!
I'm back.
They'll come back.
And with that, you are able to construe an amazing lie and a believable and interesting story for the lady. She
Hell yeah.
applauds you. Alaric is sort of just like, what sort of nonsense story is this? But the Vinton woman cuts in and she says, that is no nonsense.
That is a dwarf.
That is a dwarf I respect. What was his name?
I think they did pull up a name. It was a realistic name, but my God, good luck finding him. Karakaranak or Karazakarak. Yeah.
Karazakarak.
Yeah.
So
Just
you
named it off that
utter
one.
the name Karazakarak, and she repeats it, and she says Karazakarak, and she pounds a fist on the table, and she says, "I will remember this warrior for you." And then after that, she resumes eating.
Please do. He'd love it.
And
Yep.
Yvonne
good for
is
you.
straight up like loving this whole thing. She's like literally like giggling and like clapping as this whole thing is going on. Like this is like the most fun she's had in a long time.
No.
Not really much other reaction. The only two reactions to these kinds of dwarfs: what the fuck, and yeah, this is awesome.
This is the greatest dwarf
This
ever.
is so insane. There's no way I can't be entertained.
And yeah, it is always the dwarfs that are crazed, aren't they?
Name every rock.
So you have stone cutting. Name every rock. I love that
Oh
one.
my god.
So the good lady does mention like she does mention like this is probably one of the best banquets she's had in a very long time, and she
Yay!
mentions just like it's these villages are fairly quiet and my treks to Valvadiri aren't as entertaining. I know that the new acting master is trying to do things, and even in my recent audience with him, it's just not as things have just the world is changing in such ways, and I feel like I'm not really finding my place with it, especially walking in these halls in such memorable times, and thinking of better days. But this brought me back to those days, and for that I'm very, very appreciative.
Oh.
And so
We're
with
glad
that,
you've been assisting in that.
she gives a very heartfelt thank you to both you and Alaric. But before long, one of the guards bursts into the door and just bursts into the banquet and in a panic, and he says, "My lady!" And interrupting the feast, of course. And
Yeah, just huh?
he
From halfway to mouth.
he's just like, "I beg your pardon, my lady, but please, you must." It's like, "Please, you must see to yourself and the guests to safety."
Safety.
Safety.
He mentions also, just in a panic, just trolls, my lady. They're approaching the gates.
Ah, I see that the trolls are here.
Yep. Alric, not even
Bitch.
not even surprised. Alric almost lets off a very he lets off a bit of an amused chuckle. And he
I want to try and fight rolls being meh. I want to try and get a read on his reaction. By the way.
who?
I will incite him too.
Yeah.
Insight.
Alric.
Insight. Alric.
Yeah, Yasha's just too legitimately startled. Like, what the fuck? I'm eating.
I'm curious if he
Insight.
comes off as someone that was like
Insight.
expecting this to happen. I guess.
Insight.
I mean, he might have been like even.
Insight. Insight.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
great.
a bit weird. Yeah, I
Insight.
just want to get a read on him. I want to see.
Yeah, I got the 16 and Lamine got the 18.
You get the feeling that he was kind of half expecting this to happen. And he kind of cleans his hands, and he gets up from the table, and he even comments, he's like, "Very well, Lady Agnir, you were right once more. I had a feeling they'd come this way." And the Vinton then picks herself up from the table as well, and sort of like discards this like now skeletalized leg. She's pretty much picked the entire meat off, and she says, "I damn well told you." And she takes her helmet and dons it, and she she yells, she shouts out, "To arms!" And like the three knights who are standing like are prompt and like very quickly following behind her now instead of Alric. Alric lags behind, and he says, he kind of goes to the Lady Yvonne, and he says, "My lady, see to your own safety. I will." It's like, "I and my party will dispatch of these trolls."
Just looking to the party like, do we help?
We already mentioned we're no match for trolls of his ferocity.
down for the rest of
He
my
would
life.
only get in the way.
Mm.
We should meet with Roland.
All right, we should go back to him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't take much for you to find Roland, as Roland is also kind of pouring out from his side of the banquet, and you see him already like locked and loaded and ready to go.
Oh
And
God.
he's just like, you see some of the crossbowmen, like some of your guys like take up their crossbows and they start marching their way outside, and
Hold up.
Roland also appears and he's just like, we've got trolls.
Got
That we
trolls.
do.
Land trolls. Mortarin just like kind of like mentions to Roland.
He's
Like,
like, yeah,
Bad land trolls.
he's like, yeah, they're big. I can see them from the windows here.
Oh dear. Well. I'm assuming you guys are okay fighting them then. Because,
Do we have anything to help fight those trolls?
Yasha, Mortarin just kind of like looks at you. This is a perfect opportunity.
Well, Roland suggests that you guys stay at the ladies' side and, see about getting what you need to get done. And he says that this one will be a courtesy. And he says that he kind of mentions like, I saw those knights going out there. It's like, kind of want to see what the giant woman can do. So I'm gonna be out there.
Understandable.
I bet
Right,
she
kids,
can do
go
a
have fun.
lot.
Have fun, kids.
Yep, pretty much. And Mortarin is going to assume that all the servants are like, like too disheveled and just like panicking, screaming.
Yeah,
To,
the
like-
servants are all like they're all like gathering, and one of the guards is just sort of like trying to direct them and be all like, all right, everyone to the safe area.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm going to try to do, because I'm assuming they're not even gonna bother guarding shit at this point, because
I'm gonna go.
troll problem is more important than yeah.
I'm gonna go get my axe.
Yep. You guys are able to get your weapons at the door.
Oh, I don't need them.
Well,
Technically.
you're covered, but
Yeah. So while they're getting that, Border is gonna act on its own and immediately go for because I'm assuming Yasha mentioned like the downstairs area,
yeah.
when they were together.
That's pretty
So
much where
he's
they're all
immediately
headed.
gonna see. They're all heading downstairs in the safe area.
The Lady Yvonne that's the safe area, the downstairs area.
Oh my. Okay. Shit. Oh boy. Okay, at that point, well, I guess that rules out that. I guess Mortar is just going to immediately start looking into the places he couldn't get into, and just look for the rapier as fast as he can, essentially. Yeah.
Alright, you're gonna be walking around the building?
Yeah, hopefully without getting caught by a guard. That's like,
Well, pretty much
Usher
most of the guards are either out to defend the walls, or they're attending the lady.
yeah. So, yeah, Mortar's gonna take ample opportunity of this panic to do as fast as a search as he can for that damn sword.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Alrighty. Yasha, Lamine, what do you plan to do?
Yasha's kind of at a loss. Like, what are you guys doing? What are we doing? And then since Mordrin kind of walked off, just kind of looks at Lamine for guidance.
Where are we going, Lamine?
Lamine
Me?
needs her weapon. So,
I got my weapon.
I would assume this is
Okay.
all done at the armory,
Yeah.
like this exchange.
Yeah.
Alright.
A guard actually comes from the barracks and
okay.
kind of like, it's just like he leaves it at the door for you guys. Just like take your stuff
Like, oh,
and
take it.
do what you gotta do.
Well,
Yeah. When the fighting gets going, all bets are off. You can have your weapons.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious what is downstairs. So I will go.
That's
You'll
the
attend
panic
lady?
room.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bodyguard her then.
Okay.
Is there anything you want me? Just doesn't know what to do. Just what do you guys want me to do?
Mordred is gone. Cannot give direction to Yasha. Please assist.
I was gonna say go help Mordrin because if something happens, he's the most in danger if a troll gets through out of all of us on our own.
Okay, and Yasha will just go find a Mordrin.
Very well. So you will move off to go follow after Mordrin, and then Lamine, you'll go and escort the lady.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll an investigation. Excuse me. Go ahead and roll investigation, Mordrin.
All right. My
And
investigation
then-
is 5 or 6. I forget. It's a 6. 22.
Very well.
A good investigation.
Yasha, roll me an investigation. You'll be looking for Mordrin.
Yeah.
Mordrin kind of went on
Fair
ahead.
enough. Yeah, because basically Mordred is
that
like,
one. Yep.
Oh, it'll
Don't
be
know
a
where Mordrin-
while. You'll eventually
Yeah.
come across Mordrin, but for now.
yeah, Mordred is just too quick. He's just like, I need
Gotta
to
go.
find it now while this is going on.
So
This house is too fucking big.
this manor is fairly big, and the upper floors are particularly labyrinthian for you. However, you are able to kind of denote some of the areas you weren't able to kind of go through. One of them, namely, being the the lady's private quarters, actually, and you are able to make your way into her room.
I hate to do this, but
You
yes.
can hear the din of battle going on outside as well, as there's just like the sound of monsters' roars and soldiers shouting and other such other such noises.
Cool.
The
I'm just like, cool, that's going on. Where the fuck is the sword?
there's no traces of the sword in this dimly lit room. However, you do note kind of a few interesting things, including a little like mannequin stand with a suit of armor, and like it's almost like an adventurer's ready, like a little like suit of equipment and weapons and all that. None of which seem to match this magical rapier. Roll me a perception.
All right, perception. Don't minus my roll. 14.
Don't fail your
Negative 5. Like, Jesus, I don't exist anymore with a -5 modifier.
Ugh.
Just
Well,
whoop.
you do happen to you don't happen to find anything that stands out. However, at the top of her study desk, you do notice there's a peculiarly interesting looking key that sits in the desk or on the desk that catches your attention. It doesn't seem to it seems to stand out quite a bit with its ornate
Grabs
sort of
the key.
shape.
Just grabs it, like,
Oh boy.
no time to think. Just, it's a key. It might open something that could carry this damn thing. I
Yep.
need to know where it is.
As you reach and get for the key, you hear crashing of windows, and suddenly you find yourself in the room with a number of shadowy figures entering into the room.
Oh boy.
Rather, a collection of 5 or 6 of them pile into the room, and notice one of them looks at you surprisingly. They speak in a very bizarre tongue, and one of them, almost in a like a
Good luck.
sort of a loud, not so much raspy, but an audible whisper, sort of says, "Well, you weren't supposed to be here. No matter."
Uh-oh.
And they draw their blades. And I'll
Good
leave it
luck.
at that for next session.
Hooray!
Oh no, not the cliffhanger.
Oh, it's the cliffhangers.
Yep, you get cliffhangered. as shadowy figures enter the room and assault you.
Sweet, I get to kick back and watch you guys fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless something happens on my end, but good luck.
Anyways,
Big luck.
that's gonna
Don't die.
call it here for tonight's session. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the session. Hope you enjoyed the White Dwarf's appearance. Wazak.
I am the White Dwarf.
Yep, I am the White Dwarf. Anyways, yep, thank you so much for attending the session, and hope y'all have a wonderful evening. Take care and see ya.